Chapter 438. Black Hell King's Underling. War, who led his underlings and arrogantly wreaked havoc in the Xia Palace. Originally, this blow had left Junwu Yu in a terrible state. War, who was only one of the east, south, west, north, and central subordinates of the Black Hell King, but he was already so powerful that even the two heavenly Imperial Guardians could not take him down. If 5 of them came, he really did not know how to deal with them. Moreover, War, whose arrogant provocation proved that the Black Hell King had already established a foothold in the soaring dragon continent and had a certain level of power. Even if he could not swallow the entire soaring dragon continent now, he was not far from it. This blow caused the morale of the Xia kingdom to stagnate, especially the various city masters. They all had faint thoughts of disloyalty. However, just when Junwu Yu was having a headache, Yu Clan's 3rd young master returned with an unimaginable victory. Forget about the dozens of sect masters. How did you kill those fakinates? Junwu Yu never thought that Yu Yang would kill his way into the enemy's secret base, destroy all the pseudo-innates that were successfully created and the experimental bodies that were still being cultivated, and even save Elder Huangshi, Hermit Blackleaf, Yu Shan, and the others. He was so surprised that he could not believe it. Yu Yang's actions were undoubtedly a huge slap to the Black Hell King and War, whose faces. This slap to the face was really too powerful. Elder Yu Hai, Eastern Sky King, Feng Kuang, and the 4 great clans' clan masters were all in disbelief when they heard this. They immediately asked, "Really? Is this true?" Even though Yu Yang had explained it again and again, and even though Yu Shan and the other prisoners were right in front of them, everyone still felt that it was inconceivable and unimaginable. If this was not done by Yu Yang, everyone would definitely not believe it. Luckily, there was a Yu clan's 3rd young master who could do anything in this world. The live fakinates were a little troublesome. I only killed 5 of them, and 2 escaped. However, the live ones that were still being tested were much easier. Yu Yang pointed at Lu Yi, who was standing beside him with her head lowered like a little wife. With her help, all the experimental bodies quickly went crazy. I didn't even need to do much, and the base became a bloody slaughterhouse. No, it's not me. Lu Yi didn't dare to raise her head in front of Junwu Yu, the State Grandmaster and the Eastern Sky King. She was just a student. Even if she saw the Academy's teachers, she still had to bow and greet them. When she heard what Yu Yang said, her face immediately turned red, and she was so flustered that she didn't know where to put her hands. "What is your talent?" The Tian Luo Kingdom's heavenly Imperial Guardian, the Scholar Saint, was sincerely happy that his kingdom had produced such a talented junior. "War God, my innate skill is cleansing. I only followed 3rd young master's instructions. I don't know anything else." Lu Yi was even more excited when she heard the heavenly Imperial Guardians asking her personally. Good little girl. You are much stronger than us old fellows." "That's right, just listen to him." "Ha!" The Eastern Sky King was so happy that he slapped his thigh. Previously, he was beaten up by War Tiger's subordinates. Now that he heard that a little girl from his kingdom had destroyed Red Tiger's base, his heart felt so good, as if he was drinking ice water on a hot summer day. His whole body felt comfortable. If Lu Yi wasn't a girl, he would definitely take her as his disciple. The Eastern Sky King knew that if Lu Yi didn't have a future, Yu Yang wouldn't have brought her back in such a grand manner. In other words, this brat wanted to snatch people away and had taken a fancy to Lu Ye's potential. Although the Eastern Sky King looked rough, his mind was very meticulous. If it wasn't for the fact that he hated being an emperor, he would have long been the Tian Luo Kingdom's king. Junwu asked about the process again. Yu Yang usually skipped over these, but the old fellows weren't satisfied enough. They ordered Yu Yang to sit properly, and Lu Yi slowly reported in detail. Lu Yi was a little afraid of Yu Yang at first, and peeked at him from time to time. She was afraid that Yu Yang would be angry, but when she saw that he was only a child in front of the elders, she immediately felt a lot more at ease. She gradually relaxed from her initial nervousness, and then gradually became calm and at ease. Using an especially sweet and friendly voice, she vividly recounted what had happened, especially when she talked about how Yu Shan would rather die than submit, and how he knelt while weeping blood. Even Elder Yu Hai, who was used to seeing life and death on the battlefield, secretly shed tears. When she talked about how Yu Yang used a secret method to secretly save people after Feng Jin left, everyone held their breath. Only Lu Ye's description could be heard in the whole room. It was as if anyone made a sound, Feng Jin would be alerted. When everyone heard Li talk about how Yu Yang used the perforate deer and teleportation method to destroy one laboratory after another, and even set fire to the place in the end, doing countless bad things, Jun Wu Yu and the others were so happy that they clapped their hands and cheered. I didn't expect the cleansing inherent skill to be able to kill fake innates so perfectly. This time, the Black Hell King will definitely be heartbroken. The ascetic practice saint was gratified. With a 1% success rate, the few fake innates that we painstakingly created were destroyed just like that. Moreover, the destruction of the secret base will definitely cause great damage to the Black Hell Army. From this, it seems that the Black Hell Army's attack will be greatly delayed, and we will have more time to prepare. The Heavenly Imperial Guardian of Tian Luo Kingdom. The scholar hated this secret base to the core. This was because most of the prisoners that the Black Hell King caught were either hermits or famous people in Tian Luo Kingdom. As for the rapid production of fake innates, it was even more inhumane and made him very angry. I suspect that there is a similar base, but there are no clues. Yu Yang expressed that everyone should not be too optimistic. The Black Hell King is not a fool. He definitely won't just rely on Zijin Kingdom. However, with this great victory, it will be enough for the Demonic Palace and Demon Abyss Demon Kings to build confidence in us. The State Grandmaster laughed. The hostages have been rescued. The rope that the Black Hell Army wanted to use to strangle our necks is gone. Let's see what else they can do. Furthermore, Yang Er's move is also a warning to the others. Those city masters who have ulterior motives, or those who want to surrender to us, would definitely have some misgivings after hearing this news. Because of Yu Shan's return, Elder Yu Hai's morale instantly exploded. If the death of his third son, Yu Qiu, was his greatest pain, then the betrayal of his eldest son, Yu Shan, was a hidden pain in his heart, a humiliation that could not be erased. Now, Yu Shan had committed suicide to show his sincerity, begging to protect his children while weeping blood. In the end, he would rather die than submit to his beliefs. This made Elder Yu Hai extremely touched. This son did not betray the clan. What happened before was just a misunderstanding. Although Yu Shan was heavily injured now, the fact that he was able to return was God's greatest blessing to the Yu clan. Of course, Elder Yu Hai also understood this point. That was all the success was because of his obedient grandson, Yu Yang. If it wasn't for him, Yu Shan would not have been able to return to the Yu clan like this. Even if they were rescued, Yu Shan would not be able to wash away the suspicions on him and the stain of his past if he did not go through the process of weeping blood, kneeling, and committing suicide. Go and do your own things. Leave the matters of the war to us. Oh right, little Fallen Flowers seems to have returned. Don't you want to see her? Eastern Sky King could be said to be the most proud person today, because his son-in-law had teamed up with a younger generation of his nation to destroy the Black Hell King's secret base, and even rescued the hermit of his nation, and even Jun Wu Yu's teacher. How could he not be proud? All right, I'll go now. Yu Yang missed City Master Fallen Flowers. It had been a long time since he hugged and kissed this beautiful City Master. He did not know how she was doing now. His heart was burning with desire. He jumped up and immediately slipped out of the door. I'll take my leave. Seeing that Yu Yang had left, Lu Yi hurriedly followed. The house was filled with the powerful people of the soaring dragon continent. She really could not stay here any longer. I knew that you would not disappoint me, your boss. Ahaha. It's a pity that I didn't go. If there's a chance next time, you must bring me along. How can such a good thing happen without me, your boss? Fatty Hai and a large group of people were waiting in the courtyard. In the middle of them stood Ning Hai, who had been beaten black and blue. When Ning Hai was thrown into the courtyard by Yu Yang had originally instructed Fatty Hai and the others to take a look first. In the end, Fatty Hai and the others had mistakenly thought that Ning Hai was a super criminal like Feng Jin. All of them were filled with righteous indignation and rushed forward, punching and kicking Ning Hai until he screamed miserably. By the time Ning Hai explained that he was a rebel army, he had already been beaten so badly that he did not even look human. Yu Hai kicked away Fatty Hai, who had rushed forward to flatter him. He pointed at Lu Yi and introduced her to everyone. This beauty is called Lu Yi. She is Yu Yu's classmate. You all have to take care of her. She will be a newcomer to the team. Fatty Hai patted his chest, his fat jiggling as he guaranteed. Don't worry, I will definitely take good care of Sister Lu Yi. I am Haida Fu, an extroverted, sincere, knowledgeable, and good-tempered person. I am the best choice to make friends. Furthermore, I am Yi Yang's boss. Yes, you didn't hear wrongly, I am the boss. For someone like me, if I am not the boss, who else would I be? Sister Lu Yi, if you join our team in the future, this boss will take care of you. Wah 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 wah, who kicked me? Under Lu Ye's sweaty gaze, Fatty Hai was kicked into the air. His chubby figure drew a parabola in the air. He screamed loudly as he fell out of the wall. Yi Kong said very seriously, just ignore him. He is our disgrace. He was born into this world completely because of God's mistake. Before Lu Yi could reply, she suddenly realized that Prince of Tian Luo and Xue Tanlang were also in front of her. She was extremely surprised. Your Highness, why are you here? I have been standing here for a long time. Don't tell me that you only saw me now. Although I am not jealous that you only have Yu Yang in your eyes, you should at least look at us. We are not like Fatty Hai, who is invisible in the background. Prince of Tian Luo wiped his sweat. He rarely encountered this kind of situation. Normally, when girls saw him, they would scream or faint from suffocation. Girls like Lu Yi who ignored handsome guys were really rare in this world. I'm sorry, I really didn't see you just now. I was too nervous. Lu Yi apologized respectfully. Are we really invisible people? The Oxhead fan Luan Tai looked very depressed. Forget about humans. How could she ignore a 3-meter-tall oxhead? Moreover, there were golden elves who were even more eye-catching than oxheads. Was there something wrong with Lu Ye's eyes? Even the Oxhead fan Luan Tai was suspicious. Pity this beautiful girl. I was ignored for the first time. Bao Er imitated Yu Yang's way of expressing himself. She touched her 2 index fingers together, looking extremely cute. Ah, Oxhead and Golden Elves. Oh my god, there are actually Golden Elves who came to the Soaring Dragon continent. Were you all invited by Yu Yang? Lu Ye's information was delayed by many days compared to everyone in the Soaring Dragon continent. She actually didn't know about the Golden Elves. This scream made Anna dizzy. Could it be that there was really someone in the Soaring Dragon continent who didn't know about the Golden Elves' visit? Ha ha ha. Lennon's expression was like, I knew it would be like this. We're all background, all kinds of background. Only Xue Tamlang's unchanging cool face remained the same. When Lu Yi was talking to Fatty Hai, Yi Kong, and Prince of Tian Luo, Yu Yang had already teleported to the Imperial Palace of Tian Luo and entered the Night Empress Mirage. Led by the head maid to the Imperial Garden, Yu Yang saw from afar that Yu Yu was hugging Yu Shuang and talking to Fourth Mother softly. Yu Yu was talking about how Yu Yang destroyed the secret base and rescued her father. Fourth Mother nodded from time to time. Beside them, there was a beauty dressed in luxurious clothes. It was City Mistress Fallen Flowers. Because she was lovesick, the beauty became thinner, making people's hearts ache. According to City Mistress Fallen Flowers' thoughts, she wanted to see Yu Yang immediately. She longed for her lover's embrace, but she was afraid that the elders would laugh at her. Moreover, she knew that Yu Yang was reporting to Junwu Yu and the other elders. It was not easy for her to suppress the thought of going to the Yu clan castle. Although she was sitting next to Fourth Mother and listening to Yu Yang's awe-inspiring stories, she still looked a little restless. She kept looking at the palace gate and the corridor from time to time, hoping that her sweetheart would come over quickly and reunite with her. After looking forward to it for a long time, Fallen Beauty looked up and saw Yu Yang coming out from the corner of the corridor. She was so happy that she immediately jumped up. Bitter lovesickness disappeared like smoke. Happiness overflowed in her heart. She did not care about being reserved anymore. She did not care about the elders beside her. She could not wait and flew towards him. She cheered, and threw herself at her lover. She could not wait for even a moment. Chapter 439. The passionate kiss lingered for a long time, unwilling to part. The little girl in the distance watched for a while, then clapped her hands and laughed. "Ha ha, brother and sister fallen flowers are kissing." Fourth mother hurriedly pulled her away. "Little girl, what are you shouting for? What do you know about adult matters? Let's go. Mummy will cook some soup dumplings for you." If it was a normal day, Yu Shuang would definitely cheer. She couldn't stand the temptation of food the most. However, the current Yu Shuang broke free from her mother's hand and flew over, shouting, "Brother, I want a kiss too." City Mistress Fallen Flowers was quite embarrassed, her jade face blushing. Even Yu Yu turned her face away, not daring to look. She didn't know how to clean up this mess. Yu Yang was thick-skinned. He didn't care about the little girl's childish words at all. He bent down to pick up Yu Shuang and gave her a loud kiss on her apple-like cheeks, fulfilling her wish to kiss. "Brother, I want to be like sister, kiss." The little girl pouted, indicating that it wasn't enough and wanted to kiss again. "It's all your fault." City Mistress Fallen Flowers was so embarrassed that she wanted to crawl into the ground. She hid behind Yu Yang and pinched his waist with her jade fingers, using this to get rid of the embarrassment in her heart. If no one said it, she wouldn't care about her kiss with Yu Yang. However, the little girl had said it out loud. Not only Fourth Mother and Yu Yu, even the surrounding maids who were secretly laughing knew about it. This made her unable to put down her embarrassment. Yu Yang laughed loudly and kissed the little girl's pouted lips. "Shuang is the most obedient. Brother will reward you with a very, very big snow powder fruit." A snow powder fruit appeared from his storage ring, immediately attracting the little girl's attention. The little girl couldn't wait to take it and hugged her brother. She kissed Yu Yang's face with her mouth full of saliva. She then jumped down and ran to show off to her mother. "Mummy, look, this snow powder fruit is a reward from brother. Snow powder fruit is very sweet. If you don't believe me, you could take a bite." Looking at her childish appearance, everyone couldn't help but laugh. When Yu Yang reached out his hand to Castellan Fallen Flowers, she first gave him a cute, supercilious look, then stuffed her little hand into his palm and happily let him hold it. Fourth Mother secretly nodded her head. Shaosan and Fallen Flowers were really a perfect couple, a match made in heaven. She then looked at Yu Yu, who had her head lowered. She seemed to have something to say, but in the end, she held back. She bent over and gently picked up the little lass. She said to Yu Yu, "I specially cooked a lot of glutinous rice balls today. Come and eat." "Sure, I'm the same as Shuang I love Tang Yuan the most." Yu Yu seemed to be afraid that others would see through her thoughts. She hurriedly took the little lass from Fourth Mother's embrace and teased her sister while following Fourth Mother. Before they left, she secretly looked back at Yu Yang and Fallen Flowers. When the two of them looked at her, she hurriedly said, "You guys just met. Take your time and chat. I'll leave some glutinous rice balls for you guys. If brother doesn't hurry up, I won't leave any for brother. I'll eat them all." The little lass teased him and made a funny face. "Isn't it cute? Why don't we have one too?" Yu Yang whispered to Castellan Fallen Flowers. Castellan Fallen Flowers' face turned red. She hurriedly looked left and right. Only when she realized that no one had heard did she reluctantly relax. She raised her soft little hand and pretended to hit her lover. "Big pervert, you're saying this in broad daylight." "All right, then we'll talk about it in detail tonight." Yu Yang's dictionary didn't have a word thick-skinned. Castellan Fallen Flowers' face instantly turned red, as if there were countless steam rising. She lowered her head, like a little wife, and followed beside Yu Yang, counting the grass under her feet. At this moment, her heart was beating like a deer. After their previous pleasure, she naturally understood the meaning behind her lover's words. She also knew what he was hinting at. Even her body was yearning for her lover's possession. Actually, she had wanted him for a long time, but she couldn't do it now. She had to wait until they returned to the grimoire world. That would be her own love nest. Castellan Fallen Flowers half-nestled against Yu Yang, letting him hold her little hand. She was different from her usual forthright self as she followed him gently like water. Her intoxicated eyes looked up from time to time, peeking at him. She couldn't get enough no matter how much she looked. Sickly Beauty also came out after hearing the news. Of course, she was also giving fallen flowers a chance to be alone with Yu Yang. If they waited for Princess Sisai, Shui Wuxia, Inan, and Yu Bing to return, it would be difficult for them to be alone. Sickly Beauty completely understood this point, so she also came out. On the surface, it looked like she was teaching Yu Shuang that she couldn't stop her homework, but in reality, it was to give City Mistress Fallen Flowers the best time to be alone. Unable to wait until nightfall, she waited for Yu Yang to extricate himself from Yu Shuang's entanglement and came over to carry City Mistress Fallen Flowers. City Mistress Fallen Flowers pretended to struggle a little, but in the end, she followed him back to the grimoire world. In the world of the two of them, she kissed him for a long time. Over and over again, they kissed passionately, as if they wanted to release all their lovesickness through their lips. At the moment of passion, she hugged her lover tightly, as if she wanted to merge herself into his body. Unknowingly, City Mistress Fallen Flowers turned into a flawless white jade beauty. Her skin was as white as snow, pink like snow, and her whole body was blushing. When Yu Yang kissed her, she whispered in her lover's ear, "Scoundrel, I miss you so much." The room was filled with passion. The lovesickness of the lovers lingered endlessly. Bloody Queen Red, who was hiding and watching from afar, blushed as she watched. Her heart was beating like a drum, and her watery eyes revealed a light of understanding. Every time she watched, she would nod her head, as if she was learning and memorizing something. On the other side, Barbarian Cow Shadow Man, who was also watching quietly, had a puzzled look on her face. Her eyes revealed a puzzled look, as if she understood something. She couldn't even compare to the golden-crowned thorny flower queen who was sleeping soundly in the flower bed. If the golden-crowned thorny flower queen wasn't sleeping soundly, she would be the guardian beast that liked to peek at Yu Yang's lovemaking with others the most. As for the spirit of earth fire, she had no interest in this at all. She couldn't understand Yu Yang's actions at all. On the path of evolving into a human, she was still very far away from becoming a holy beast. Sometimes levels and strength didn't mean everything. On the second day, Luo Hua City Mistress, who had gone through the pain of lovesickness, was obviously extremely beautiful. Her face was glowing, and her entire person was radiant. Even Yu Shuang, a little girl who didn't know anything, cried out loudly, "Sister is so beautiful." Compared to her, Yu Yu seemed a little more haggard, as if she hadn't slept well at night and hadn't gotten enough sleep. Princess Sisai said that she would be back later. Bing Er is also learning from Grandma Wu Tong. "Sander, what are your plans?" Fourth Mother reminded Yu Yang. "Tong Tian Tower 5th floor. You should take the time to look for Yu Yang's relics." All right then. Yu Yang originally wanted to use these few days to study the 3 battle dolls that the ghost genius Yu Gong had repaired, but Yu Chio's relics were also very important. "You guys go ahead. You don't have to accompany me. I will be fine with Shuang by my side these few days." Wu Hen, Fallen Flowers and Yu Er, "You guys go with Sander?" When Fourth Mother said that, Yu Yu was stunned. She looked at Fourth Mother in disbelief and asked again, "I'm going too?" What she meant was that Sickly Beauty and City Mistress Fallen Flowers were both Yu Yang's wives. They would definitely be in love with each other along the way. Would it be appropriate for her to go with them? Sickly Beauty and City Mistress Fallen Flowers didn't really understand either. Could it be that Fourth Mother had other intentions by saying that? "I don't care about you juniors' matters. You guys go ahead and do your own things." Fourth Mother looked at Yu Yu and didn't say anything. She carried the little girl and left. She didn't say anything, but her attitude was very clear. She hoped that Yu Yu would also go with them to look for the relics that Yu Chio had left for his son. City Mistress Fallen Flowers, Sickly Beauty, and Yu Yu were all intelligent people, but they couldn't understand Fourth Mother's intentions at this moment. They looked at each other. They didn't understand, but they didn't say it out loud. They turned to look at Yu Yang. At this time, Yu Yang was also confused. Of course, he was good at pretending and laughed. "Maybe there's a treasure. Let's each take one." Yu Yu's hands were twisted under the table, showing an intense psychological struggle. She bit her lips. "I'm not feeling well. I'm not going." City Mistress, Sickly Beauty, and City Mistress Fallen Flowers looked at each other and tried to persuade her to go together at the same time. Yu Yu's eyes were slightly red, but she still shook her head. She forced a smile and waved her hands. Don't worry, I'm just a little insomnia because the Black Hell Army is about to attack Desya. I'm thinking too much and can't sleep well. I'll be fine after 2 days of rest. She stood up and quickly returned to her room. City Mistress Fallen Flowers lightly punched Yu Yang. No, quickly think of a way. If Qian finds out, she'll definitely think that we're bullying her. Yu Yang sweated profusely. This has nothing to do with Qian and Tigress, all right? Don't think too much. Go and take a look. She's not feeling well. You have to take a look at her. Sickly Beauty suggested to Yu Yang. Yu Yang sweated profusely. How was Yu not feeling well? He dared to guarantee that her abnormality had nothing to do with her body. However, there was a hidden meaning in the Sickly Beauty's words. She didn't mean to treat Yu. She mainly wanted Yu Yang to comfort Yu, or at least enlighten her a little. She didn't want Yu to feel suffocated, so that she would feel better. The problem was, Yu Yang felt that the more he enlightened Yu, the more uncomfortable she would feel. City Mistress Fallen Flowers and Sickly Beauty returned to the grimoire world and continued to work on the construction of their love nest. Yu Yang hesitated for a while and finally walked to Yu Yu's room. He knocked lightly. After a long time, Yu seemed to know that it was Yu Yang outside. Xiao-san, I'm going to sleep. It's fine. You can go back. Yu Yang pushed the door open and entered. Yu, who had just climbed out of bed, was shocked and embarrassed. Why did you come in? I said I was already asleep. You're not a child. Why are you always acting like this? I'm really fine. I'm just a little tired. I'll be fine after some rest. Go back and spend more time with Fallen Flowers. As she spoke, she got up and was about to push Yu Yang out. You've lost weight. Yu Yang looked at her carefully and found that Yu had really lost a lot of weight. And it wasn't because of yesterday that she was haggard. She should have been like this for a long time. What, you're rude. You should call me sister. Yu pretended to be angry. When Yu Yang sat down, she rolled her eyes at him and went back to her bed. She didn't speak for a long time. No one knew what she was thinking. Yu Yang stood up, and Yu looked over slowly. Are you leaving? Then close the door for me. Seeing that Yu Yang wasn't leaving, she walked to the edge of the bed and sat down. She panicked and immediately sat up. Don't sit here. Hey, you, then sit down and don't move. I'm really fine, Xiao-san. I just don't want to go. I can't help even if I go. I'll just be a burden. Besides, you haven't seen Fallen Flowers for so long. You should spend more time with her. Gently, he helped Yu Yu's fragrant body lie down and tucked her in. Yu Yang reached out and gently combed the slightly messy hair on her forehead. Have a good rest. Don't think too much. Things aren't that bad. Yu avoided Yu Yang's gaze, and her cheeks blushed. She seemed to be very unused to his actions, and she argued, No, I'm not thinking too much. You should go. I really want to rest. After Yu Yang left, she gently closed the door. Listening to his footsteps gradually disappear, Yu covered her heart and faintly sighed. Suddenly, she reached out and patted her forehead. Don't think anymore. Chapter 440. Yu Yang didn't head to the 5th floor of Tong Tian Tower immediately. Because he didn't know the exact location, Yu Yang decided to head to the 6th floor first and return to the Thunder Fortress to take a look. If the Black Hell Army didn't find out that the Titan was the Yu clan's 3rd young master, then the Thunder Fortress's assets shouldn't be a problem. Or perhaps, the Black Hell King wouldn't touch the Titan's assets before he had complete control over the soaring dragon continent. This was because the minerals were fixed. No matter who seized it, they would have to send people to guard it. There was no way to move it away, and it would always be a target for the enemy. Moreover, the Black Hell Army had countless minerals in Tong Tian Tower. If they angered the Titan brothers, it would be very easy for them to take revenge. The Black Hell King wasn't a fool. He wanted to conquer the soaring dragon continent, not the 2 mines in a small thunder fortress in the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower. Conquering the soaring dragon continent was the beginning of conquering the entire Tong Tian Tower. To the soaring dragon continent, the minerals weren't even worth mentioning. Wow, Master is back. I miss Master. Please allow me to undress you. The half-elf girl with a childish face and big breasts was the happiest when she saw Yu Yang. Beside her, there was another guy who was extremely happy. He was the fat toad merchant, Jiada. The fat toad's current title wasn't just as simple as the Tita Chamber of Commerce's general president. He was also the second butler. According to him, his position was even higher than Yin Zheng the butler, and he was the number one among all the subordinates. Of course, Xia Yi and the half-elf girl didn't count. While Yu Yang was listening to Yin Zheng the butler's report, the half-elf girl gently took off Yu Yang's coat and brought some water. She helped Yu Yang, who was looking at the accounts, to sit down and personally washed his feet. Jiada the fat toad wanted to help him personally. Fortunately, he knew that he couldn't steal this kind of work. Otherwise, even if the half-elf girl didn't hate him, Yu Yang would kick him to death. Yu Yang looked at the accounts. With Yin Zheng the butler handling the accounts, he didn't have to worry at all. Jiada, did anything happen recently? Yu Yang knew the art of using people. Towards useless but motivated people, he had to praise them sometimes. Otherwise, their morale would drop easily. Moreover, Fat Toad was still of some use. Nothing happened. After Master left, everything went smoothly for us. The half-elf girl happily washed Yu Yang's feet. She was so happy that she didn't notice that Yu Yang wasn't talking to her. How can you say that nothing happened? There was something, and it was something very important. Yes, very important. The fat toad felt that Yu Yang's answer wasn't very convincing. He told Yu Yang about the recent happenings in the Thunder Fortress and finally said, "Another 2 top-grade beads have appeared in the 5th pit. This month, we obtained the best results in the entire Thunder Fortress. Even Lord Mountain Elf and Blood River are envious of us. King Chong and I even prepared a banquet to welcome you personally. How can you say that such a big event didn't happen? I'm not free for King Chongmi's banquet at the moment. Please reject it for me." Yu Yang didn't have the time to attend the banquet. Fat Toad, Jiada, and the others looked at Yu Yang as if they were looking at a monster. King Chong and I personally prepared a banquet to welcome him, and he wanted to reject it? Did they hear it wrongly? I'm really busy. I think King Chong and I will understand. Yu Yang waved his hand indifferently. He paused for a while and decided to divulge some information. Recently, I've become enemies with someone. I might need to fight with them. Let's talk about it after the fight. If someone comes looking for trouble, you can work with them temporarily. We'll talk about it after I'm back. Saving your life is the most important thing. No, I will definitely not follow a second master. If master is defeated, I will kill myself to preserve my chastity." The half-elf girl hugged Yu Yang's leg as tears flowed down her cheeks like a pear blossom in the rain. "I won't lose, but I have to use a strategy. Before we defeat the enemy might come here to destroy us. So you have to be mentally prepared. As for you, I will bring you away from here temporarily after the battle starts." Yu Yang caressed the half-elf girl's head and used his fingers to gently wipe away the tears on her face. He reckoned that the Black Hell King wouldn't be distracted and come to the Thunder Fortress to create trouble. Destroying this place wouldn't affect Yu Yang much. Moreover, as the king of the Thunder Fortress, Chong and I wouldn't allow anyone to kill their way here. What? We will never surrender to the enemy. We would rather die in battle than surrender. Fat Toad knew that once he surrendered, he would no longer be the high and mighty Master Toad. He would become the most pitiful street rat. He would have to fight to the death to protect his position as the second butler. "May I ask who your enemy is?" Butler Yin Zheng was more rational. "Enemy? There are many. Among the short-term enemies, there are the great emperor of Ziwei, Shun Tian, the Black Prince, and maybe the Thousand Goblin sect leader. But the biggest enemy should be the Black Hell King." When Yu Yang said this, Fat Toad Jiada immediately fell to the ground. His body twitched as he foamed at the mouth. Butler Yin Zheng also broke out in cold sweat, because what Yu Yang said was that none of them were weak. On the contrary, they were all super innate rankers who could make the whole Tong Tian Tower tremble with a stomp of their feet. Not to mention the Titan brothers who had just ascended to the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower. Even the owner of the Thunder Fortress, King Chong and I, couldn't afford to offend any of these strong enemies. Outside the door, Mr. Chun, who had just walked in, was also stunned when he heard this. In the end, he laughed out loud and gave a thumbs up to Yu Yang. Good, good. You are indeed the most outstanding young man in Tong Tian Tower. You have guts. In Tong Tian Tower, although there were many arrogant innates, not many of them dared to go against them, let alone at the same time. Little Titan, I am very curious. How did you offend them at the same time? Yu Yang's voice was as calm as gentle water flowing over a rock. Shun Tian and the Black Prince have been enemies for a long time and had fought a few times. The Thousand Goblin sect leader also had a small grudge against him. As for the Black Hell King, he wanted to take over our Soaring Dragon Continent. As a member of the Soaring Dragon Continent, of course I would fight to the end. Mr. Chan was stunned again. You have fought a few times with Shun Tian and the Black Prince? Master, were they the ones who broke your mask? When a half-elf girl asked, everyone realized that the gold-ranked Gemini mask was actually broken by someone. How much power was needed to do that? No, it was done by someone more powerful than Shun Tian and the Black Prince. When Yu Yang said this, the fat toad Jiada, who had just recovered a little, felt his calf cramp again. Shun Tian and the Black Prince could already sweep the entire 6th and 7th floor of Tong Tian Tower. Even in the 8th and 9th floor, they were the top rankers. If they were stronger than Shun Tian and the Black Prince, could it be that little Titan was fighting against Ji Zun? However, Ji Zun was also from the Soaring Dragon Continent. It was impossible for her to fight against little Titan. Who was it? Not to mention the fat toad and Yin Zheng the butler. Even Mr. Chen couldn't think of the person who broke little Titan's gold-ranked mask. Yu Yang didn't explain and made a deal with Mr. Chen. He kept the Thunder Beast and Thunder Armor into his storage ring. His attitude was very relaxed. One couldn't tell that he was nervous about the upcoming battle. Mr. Chen also looked at Yu Yang in surprise. He couldn't understand how a young man who had just entered the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower could be so strong. Shun Tian, the Black Prince, the Thousand Goblin sect leader, and the Black Hell King couldn't defeat him? Then what kind of power did he have? Yu Yang caressed the half-elf girl's soft hair and comforted her. Don't worry, you don't have to worry about me. You just have to wait for me to come back. Yes, I believe in Master. The half-elf girl trusted Yu Yang the most. She trusted Yu Yang without reservation. If Shun Tian, the Black Prince, or the Black Hell King's subordinates come here to invade the mine, what should we do? Yin Zheng the butler asked. First, work with them temporarily. Second, if you're not willing and become their subordinates, you can tell them that if they don't want me to destroy Ziwei Palace and take revenge 100 times over, they can take action. If anyone asks, you can tell them that I, Little Titan, am Ji Zun's disciple, the younger brother of the Night Empress. I am also one of the 10 great sky demons of the demonic palace. If they dare to challenge me, let them think about it first. Actually, you don't have to worry. This is a battle between me, Shun Tian, the Black Prince, and the Black Hell King. It has nothing to do with you. Yu Yang shamelessly used all the connections he had. He even tried to pull the demonic palace into this mess to prevent Sky Execution from going back on his words. Cough, 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 cough. Fat Toad had just climbed up and was about to drink some water to calm himself down. In the end, he almost choked. Mr. Chun was also stunned. He never thought that Little Titan's identity would be so exaggerated. Ji Zun's disciple, the younger brother of the Night Empress, and one of the 10 great sky demons. As expected, this young man had all the advantages in the world. No wonder he dared to challenge Shun Tian, the Black Prince, and the Black Hell King. Compared to Shun Tian and the others, the human Ji Zun, the Night Empress, and the demonic palace were not inferior at all. In fact, they were even stronger. Fat Toad resisted coughing and started to dance the Toad dance while twisting his fat butt. With such a powerful identity, why would he worry about 2 mind caves? Even if he gave them to Shun Tian's subordinates for free, they wouldn't dare to accept them. As for Shun Tian, he was the great emperor of Ziwei. With such a noble identity, would he come to the Thunder Fortress to occupy 2 mind caves? If he really did that, he would probably become the biggest joke in the history of Tong Tian Tower. Butler Yin Zheng was silent for a while, as if he was digesting the shock in his heart. Suddenly, he asked, Sky Dragon of the 10 Great Sky Demons, is he dead? Yu Yang waved his hand and answered casually, I killed him. After that, I was blocked by the 6 Great Sky Demons of the Demonic Palace. After a fight, I joined the Demonic Palace with the condition of marrying Sky Law in the future and became one of the new 10 Great Sky Demons. That's about it. If King Chong and I asks, just tell him directly. If he doesn't ask, then don't spread it out. After all, this isn't good for the Demonic Palace. I have to give Sky Execution some face. Actually, Yu Yang knew that Chong and I would definitely ask. Once Chong and I knew about this relationship, with his intelligence, he would definitely not tell Shun Tian and the others. On the contrary, he would take care of his subordinates secretly. After all, having a good relationship with him was the most promising. Chong and I was definitely not a fool to become the king of the Thunder Fortress. After Mr. Chen heard it, his face showed that he had expected it. He also guessed that Sky Dragon had died that day. However, he never expected that Little Titan would be fine after killing Sky Dragon. Instead, he could join the Demonic Palace and become one of the 10 Great Sky Demons. Is there anything I can help you with? We are friends. Please feel free to ask. Mr. Chen asked, if there is a need in the future, I will, but not for now. Yu Yang waved his hand and thanked Mr. Chen for his good intentions. This action of Yu Yang made Fat Toe Jiada so excited that he was crying. Mr. Chen was an innate rancor, but he didn't need any help at all. It seemed like his master was indescribably strong. If it was possible, the fat toad would rather stand naked at the highest point of the Thunder Fortress and sing in the wind, praising his master. Only then would he be able to vent his boiling blood. Of course, this was just a thought. The highest point of the Thunder Fortress was King Chong Ni's lookout tower. Even his concubines were forbidden to enter that place. The half-elf girl also expressed her admiration towards her master. Master is really powerful. I will wait here and pray for Master every day. At the corner of the door, Xia Yi, who was wearing a policewoman uniform, stretched her head out. It was hard to tell what expression she had on her face. She seemed to be reluctant and worried at the same time. It was very complicated. After Mr. Chun, Yin Zheng the butler, and Fat Toe Jiada left, Yu Yang waved at her. Come here. Tell me what you want to say. Everyone is depending on you, so nothing can happen to you. The valiant and heroic Xia Yi first avoided Yu Yang's gaze and whispered like a kitten. However, as Yu Yang's gaze wandered around her body, her temper suddenly exploded. She instantly forgot that he was an innate and her master. She rushed up and grabbed Yu Yang's collar. Her eyes stared at him, nose to nose and lips so close to Yu Yang. She shouted at Yu Yang, Don't think that I like you just because I fought for you. You're wrong. I hate people like you the most. You like me? Yu Yang seemed to have heard an alien say hello. No, I just don't want you to misunderstand. Xia Yi's face turned red. She tried her best to defend herself, but the more she tried, the more powerless she felt. That's good. I was really worried that you would like me. You don't know, an outstanding man like me is always troubled by this kind of thing. There are always so many boring women who fall in love with me, making me so passive. Yu Yang ignored Xia Yi's volcanic anger and shrugged his shoulders elegantly, like a hedonistic young master who deserved a beating. Xia Yi used all her strength to not punch this damn narcissist to the ground. Get a midwinter clang, get a midwinter clang. Yu Yang used his hands to caress the half-elf girl who was giggling in his arms. His actions were like caressing an obedient kitten, but his mouth was singing proudly. I'm not going to talk nonsense with you. I only want to ask you one thing. What did you do to my body? Why am I not normal these few days? Xia Yi was so angry that she wanted to bite this guy to death. However, for the sake of the strange power in her body, she decided to ask him. Otherwise, her curiosity would explode sooner or later. She didn't realize it first, but after a while, she realized that she had a huge power. What's wrong with your body? You're pregnant. Did I do it? Yu Yang looked very innocent, but his eyes were filled with surprise. Meow. Xia Yi was like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. She first grabbed Yu Yang's arm and bit it. Realizing that this guy had thick skin and wasn't afraid of being bitten, she waved her fists and hit Yu Yang's body randomly, using Mad Cat's 108 hits. As she hit and hit, she suddenly cried, "It's all your fault. Sob sob. These few days I can't walk, sit, or lie down. My whole body is filled with unspeakable pain. Also, after I put on these damn clothes, I realize that I feel uncomfortable when I take them off. You purposely teased me. I don't want to be like this. Hurry up and restore me to my original state. This really has nothing to do with me." It was too late for Yu Yang to pretend to be innocent. He hurriedly added, "Stop for a moment. Don't cry. Let me think of a solution first." Chapter 441. Can it really be cured? Xia Yi stopped crying when she heard this, but her face was still full of tears. She looked like a weeping beauty, delicate and pitiful. She looked different from her usual valiant and heroic appearance of a female warrior, giving off a different feeling. "Let's enter the room first." Yu Yang acted as if he was the miracle doctor. "What?" Xia Yi was very doubtful. "It's fine if we don't enter the room. We could just strip here." A certain evil guy from another world gradually revealed his true face. "You said that I have to strip while you are healing me?" Xia Yi held back her tears and clenched her fists tightly, her cheeks puffing up. "That won't do. You can't just look, you have to touch." Before Yu Yang could finish his sentence, Xia Yi had already grabbed his collar and threw him out, smashing him against the wall. Xia Yi turned around and walked out step by step. She raised her fist and said, "I'd rather die than let a pervert like you take advantage of me. Stop dreaming." So fierce. The half-elf girl looked at Xia Yi and shivered. She quickly turned around to look for Yu Yang. Master, are you okay?" "Ha ha." Yu Yang stood on the wall and laughed. "Sister Xia Yi is not sick. It's a good thing that she can't control her power, right?" The half-elf girl was very smart and guessed the reason immediately. She guessed that Yu Yang did not want to cure Xia Yi on purpose. Otherwise, he would not tease her on purpose and make her leave angrily. What a smart girl. "I have something to do and have to leave now. Wait for me to come back." Yu Yang caressed the hair on the half-elf girl's forehead. Yes. The half-elf girl was definitely the most obedient one. She hugged Yu Yang's arm intimately and nodded cutely. She actually wanted to hug Yu Yang, but she did not have the courage to do so. After trading with Mr. Chan for the Thunder Beast Crystal and a large number of Thunder Armors, Yu Yang left the Thunder Fortress and decided to go to the 5th floor to look for Yuchio's relics. Before that, he went to the Warrior Guild to exchange for treasures. The 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower was calm and peaceful. For the upper echelons of Tong Tian Tower, a war breaking out in a certain continent was something that happened almost every day. Although the target of this incident was the Black Hell King and the Soaring Dragon continent, it wasn't too eye-catching. After all, the Demon Kings and the Demon Abyss had killed and pillaged everywhere they went to conquer other continents. Super Innates, like Shun Tian and the Black Prince, had also conquered many continents with their auras. Hence, this incident didn't attract the attention of the higher-ups in the Tong Tian Tower. Yu Yang walked around the Mercenary Guild and realized that the Black Prison Army only had a few bounties for warriors from the Soaring Dragon continent. Like a few pebbles thrown into the sea, there were no bubbles at all. This was not even comparable to the bounty placed on the Black Hell Army's fallen warriors by the Mercenary Guild. Is the Spring of Eternity ready? Yu Yang went to the Hall of Honor to receive the Sky Dragon's bounty. Because he had already fought with the 6 Sky Demons, they had also admitted the fact that the Sky Dragon had been killed. Yu Yang did not care about receiving another bounty. "Yes, please take a look." When the beautiful receptionist saw Sky Dragon's head, she trembled with excitement. This was the head of a level 6 innate ranker. "No need, thank you." Yu Yang took the golden box that contained the immortal spring. Without even looking at it, he immediately put it away. One must not show off one's wealth. If it were other treasures, he could still show off a little, but with this immortal spring, he must not be too arrogant because it was something that everyone would fight over. Not to mention outsiders. Even if it was Yu Yang, if he saw someone else with this treasure, he would immediately snatch it. Sky Dragon was a level 6 innate ranker. If his head was exchanged for gold, it could be piled up into a small hill. Even if it was exchanged for wisdom fruits, it could be exchanged for at least 100. However, if it was exchanged for the spring of eternity, Yang had already sensed that there were only 5 drops. It was first sealed with a protective box that weighed a few hundred kilograms, and then sealed with a heaven-runed secret circle. It was impervious to swords and spears, and impervious to fire and water. It was all because of a thumb-sized jade bottle. No, to be more accurate, it was because of the 5 drops of spring of eternity in the thumb-sized jade bottle. The difference between having and not having the spring of eternity was most obvious when compared to the Wishing Dutchman's pipe. A normal Wishing Dutchman's pipe was an existence of little value. It would be a pity if the wish was too low, but it would be useless if the wish was too high. It would be destroyed after it was used, and the chances of success were extremely low. With the spring of eternity, for example, the Wishing Dutchman's pipe in Yu Yang's hands would never wither. It could only be used once every 3 years. This treasure was simply better than any other divine equipment in the world. Yu Yang used all of his family's assets and used a small hill of gold to exchange with the evil Treant. Being able to obtain this treasure from Yu Yang made Yu Yang proud until now. This was actually an indirect reflection of the spring of eternity's effects. Without the spring of eternity, the Wishing Dutchman's pipe would never be able to become an existence that would never wither. It would always be of little value, forever making people hate and love it, love and hate it at the same time. Of course, the growth of the Wishing Dutchman's pipe was also due to many factors, such as God's dew, God's water, and God's wine. However, the main reason why it was so powerful was because of the spring of eternity. Descending to the 5th floor. Yu Yang actually rarely went to the 5th floor. Most of the time, he was just passing by. Now that he was in the 5th floor, he realized that there were actually many warriors moving around. Warriors from the demon abyss and other continents could be seen at any time, and they even faintly showed signs of hostility. Below the 6th floor, due to the intense competition, the factions of the continents were more distinct. However, once he went up to the 6th floor, he didn't care anymore. This was because when warriors from tens of continents or other continents mixed together, there was no proper faction to speak of. I need a map of the Oleander Valley. Yu Yang's wish was easily fulfilled because the branch leader of the Warriors Guild had already recognized him. This was because Yu Yang was the first human in 1,000 years to bring the Golden Elves down to the 6th floor. That place is currently in chaos. Other than welcoming him personally, the branch leader also revealed a small piece of news. The Oleander Valley was indeed in chaos. More accurately, there was a massacre happening there. Originally, the Oleander Valley was conquered by the Demon Abyss. Because of the incident at the Demon Palace, the main culprit, Yu Yang, accidentally killed the general who had just retreated to the Demon Palace. In the end, the slaves of the Oleander Valley, under the leadership of the humans from the Ao, Jia continent, and the Gufeng continent, and with the help of the Golden King Beast, started a riot. They completely massacred the demons and monsters that were left behind and took over the Oleander Mountain City. When Yu Yang arrived at the Oleander Mountain City, he realized that although the teleportation circle had been reopened, both the guards and the mercenaries were extremely vigilant towards Yu Yang, a stranger who had come to visit. They even hated him. Maybe they suspected that Yu Yang was a spy, so there were black shadows flashing in the corners of the streets, following him from afar. Yu Yang came to a newly reopened mercenary guild and threw a few gold coins. The mercenary guild's receptionist's expression was very cold. "Keep your money. There's nothing you need here. Go." This was the first time Yu Yang saw the people from the mercenary guild being so biased toward a certain region. He was slightly surprised and looked around him, only to realize that everyone was glaring at him fiercely. Yu Yang immediately understood that these people suspected that he was a spy. These mercenaries were actually biased towards the rebel army in the Oleander Mountain City. At least they sympathized with the rebel army. He smiled and sat down. "Actually, I just wanted to ask a few questions. Not much, just a few questions." "Get lost. This is not a place for you to come. Others might be afraid of you, but I don't care about a venomous spy like you. Isn't it just a gold-ranked treasure? Do you think you can scare people just by wearing it? There was a tall mercenary with a boorish appearance and bulging muscles. His strength was not even a level 6 elder. He was only a level 5 grandmaster. However, he dared to challenge Yu Yang, who was a level 6 elder. Shut up. On the contrary, there was a silver-armored mercenary leader sitting in the corner who shouted, "What does it have to do with you? Sit down." "All right, let's see what this brat wants to do." That boorish mercenary was indignant, but he obeyed and sat down. His butt almost broke the chair he sat on. He stared coldly at Yu Yang, as if he wanted to eat him alive. "I want to ask about a person who appeared here more than 10 years ago." When Yu Yang said this, everyone's ears perked up. "What's his name?" The receptionist's attitude was cold as he casually asked. "His name is Yu Qiu. He is a human from the Soaring Dragon continent. His name might not be very famous, but he has a nickname that some people might have heard of. His nickname is Tiger Butcher. He is an expert in using swords and has a gold-ranked roaring tiger as his beast. His mount is a metal-type lesser dragon. It is said that he massacred thousands of demon soldiers and even killed 2 demon generals in this valley. It is also because the people here call him Tiger Butcher that he has such a nickname. As for his portrait, it is like this." Yu Yang took out a portrait of Yu Qiu. Yu Qiu's way of doing things was not like Yu Yang. He never disguised his appearance and was always a straightforward and heroic person. "I don't know him." The receptionist's eyes lit up when he saw Yu Qiu's portrait, but he immediately shook his head. Actually, when Yu Yang described Yu Qiu's portrait, his expression had already changed slightly. With Yu Yang's divine vision, he could obviously see this slight change. He could even see the mercenary leader's trembling hands when he heard it. Since the other party was not willing to say, Yu Yang did not force them. After all, Yu Qiu was the hero here. If they did not know the truth, they would not tell him about Yu Qiu's past. Yu Yang guessed that Yu Qiu had placed his inheritance somewhere in the Oleander Valley. Because this was the place where Yu Qiu became famous in Tong Tian Tower, there might be some other reason. That was why Yu Qiu chose to leave the inheritance for his son here, in a cave. It was also possible that he left it at his friend's house. Everything was possible. What exactly was the inheritance? It was definitely useful, but Yu Yang could not think of what it was. "Have you heard of Yu Qiu?" Yu Yang turned his head and asked the mercenary leader sitting in the corner. "No, even if we had, we would not tell you." The boorish mercenary really did not know about Yu Qiu. He shouted loudly, wanting to chase Yu Yang away. "I have heard of this person before, but he has not come here for more than 10 years. The mercenary leader, sitting in the corner, pondered for a long time and finally answered. "That is indeed the case, because he had already died on the battlefield 15 years ago. It is impossible for him to come here again." Yu Yang provoked the mercenary leader. "What?" The mercenary leader cried out in shock. "No, that is impossible. That is the truth." Yu Yang decided to provoke him even more. A level 7 overlord might be invincible here, but compared to an innate rancor, a level 7 overlord is just a slightly bigger ant. He was killed by an innate? The mercenary leader asked. "I don't know, he was surrounded and killed. We are also investigating this matter." Yu Yang had been observing the mercenary leader's expression, intending to dig out the secret of the past. This is impossible. It is impossible for him to be killed. The mercenary leader suddenly calmed down. He firmly believed that Yu Qiu would not be killed. What if there were 2 demon marshals and a few demon generals working together? Yu Yang asked. Anyway, it is impossible. The mercenary leader seemed to have thought of something and instantly regained his confidence. He laughed coldly. "Sir, no matter what your motive is, I will not believe your words. Hu Tu is the hero of the Oleander Valley. You can ask any kid on the street about him. You don't need to come here. As for what I want to say, it is that he has not come here for more than 10 years. If you want to find out any secrets or whereabouts from us, you are wrong. All right, consider it a wasted trip." Yu Yang kept the gold coins and walked out confidently. "I have never been to the Soaring Dragon continent, but I heard that there is a huge war going on there. Is that why you are looking for Mr. Hu Tu?" The Mercenary Guild's receptionist suddenly said. "I have never seen Mr. Hu Tu before, but I heard from the previous elder that if you want to find him, you should not come here." Going to the soaring dragon continent is the correct way. He is already dead. I just want to find out about his past. It has nothing to do with the war. Yu Yang shrugged his shoulders and left the mercenary guild. Dead? No, impossible. The mercenary leader muttered. In the end, he still firmly shook his head in denial. Yu Yang was confused. Why did the people here deny Yu Chio's death so firmly? What secret did Yu Chio have? What did he do here? What did he leave behind? Could it be that Yu Chio was still alive? Chapter 442. If Yu Chio was still alive, it would be good news for the Yu clan. But for Yu Yang, this guy from another world, it was not good news. Of course, the possibility of Yu Chio being alive was very small. If Yu Chio was really alive, where did he go for the past 10 years? He did not appear even when the Yu clan was in danger and in need. Hence, Yu Yang thought that the pitiful guy's father, Yu Chio, was not likely to be alive. He just did not understand why the people from the Oleander Valley were so sure that Yu Chio would not die in battle. After leaving the Oleander Valley, Yu Yang went to a few other places to investigate. They were all places that Yu Chio had been to and lived in before. He spent a day, but did not find anything. After all, it had been more than 10 years, and the people had changed. Yu Yang felt that it was unlikely that Yu Chio's relic was left in other places. It was most likely in the Oleander Valley. But the Oleander Mountain City had just rebelled, and the people inside were wary and hostile towards outsiders. Even if Yu Chio's relic was really here, it might not be found in a short time. Forget it. I'll think about it later. Yu Yang gave up temporarily and returned to the 3rd floor of Tong Tian Tower. He conversed with the Xia Kingdom's general who was stationed here and realized that no matter if it was the soaring dragon continent or Tong Tian Tower, the Black Hell Army was in a state of calm before the storm. Maybe the destruction of the secret base had caused the Black Hell Army to suffer a huge setback. They would not make a move before they were certain of victory. Of course, this did not mean that the Black Hell Army would admit defeat. On the contrary, they were definitely accumulating their strength and waiting for the best opportunity to fight. It would be better if they did not fight. Once the war officially started, either the Black Hell Army or the Xia Kingdom would be completely defeated. Yu Yang could not interfere with military affairs, as these were not his strong points. Seeing that there was no war at the moment, Yu Yang decided to go to the secret place where the Bloody Queen's mother ascended to see what secrets were hidden there. Maybe the Bloody Queen could even level up. When Yu Yang was not powerful enough, it was very dangerous for him to go there. Of course, this problem was no longer a problem for him now. He summoned the Bloody Queen Red, and the two flew side by side. After a few hours of trekking, crossing countless mountains and rivers, they finally arrived at the secret place that the Bloody Queen's mother had told them about. It was a rift valley. Because of the earthquake and volcanic eruption, a long crack appeared on the mountain. It was dozens of kilometers long and only a few hundred meters wide. The narrowest part could barely fit one person. The rift itself was not the destination. The Bloody Queen's mother discovered this secret place because when she was exploring the Rift Valley, she accidentally discovered that the Rift Valley had split open, revealing the teleportation circle underneath. After half an hour of searching, Yu Yang and Bloody Queen Red finally found the gigantic teleportation circle. Without a doubt, this was an ancient, abandoned teleportation array that was buried deep underground. Due to earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, it was revealed once again. Then, where would this teleportation formation lead to? What secrets were hidden within? After the Bloody Queen's mother ascended, she had left an extremely dangerous warning signal for her daughter. She definitely did not discover all the secrets and only obtain some small things. However, it was enough for her to ascend to the 4th floor of Tong Tian Tower, or even higher. The strangest thing was that Yu Yang and the Bloody Queen did not find her in the 4th floor of Tong Tian Tower. Even the 5th and 6th floor did not have any relevant information. Where did the Bloody Queen's mother ascend to? What kind of treasure did she obtain at that time that allowed her to break through the barrier of space and ascend freely? All the secrets were on the other side of the teleportation circle. Yu Yang spent a large amount of magic crystals to repair the teleportation circle. If it wasn't for the fact that he had learned about teleportation from the old fox, Yu Yang would not have been able to do anything to the teleportation circle. Many years had passed since the Bloody Queen's mother entered. The frequent earthquakes in the Rift Valley had damaged the teleportation circle even more. Even after Yu Yang had repaired it, he was still worried that there would be a mistake. Holding the Bloody Queen's hand, Yu Yang tried to activate the teleportation circle. Buzz, 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 buzz. The teleportation circle let out a weird buzzing sound after the magic crystal's energy was injected. Countless white lights rose up. Beams of energy light drilled out from the Earth's crust and stood upright, pointing towards the sky. The activation of the teleportation circle caused another earthquake. The entire Earth shook nonstop and crushed rocks fell down. The rocks on the ground were visibly cracking. The cracks that looked like spider webs spread everywhere. A few volcanoes a few kilometers away were shaking and releasing black smoke and steam, as if they were about to erupt again. Yu Yang and the Bloody Queen teleported away in an instant. When the teleportation was successful, the teleportation circle was unable to withstand the pressure and exploded, becoming an even more dilapidated existence. Due to the destruction of the teleportation circle, no more energy was injected into the Earth's crust. The earthquake gradually subsided, and the volcanoes also returned to silence, as if nothing had happened. In the sky, there was only a patch of black smoke that had not dissipated yet. It had witnessed the fact that Yu Yang and the Bloody Queen had come here before. The teleportation was extremely fast. In a flash, Yu Yang and the Bloody Queen had already arrived in a completely new environment. This was an island that was floating in midair. It was extremely huge, more than 100 times bigger than the Thunder Fortress in the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower. Even with Yu Yang's divine vision, he could not see the edge of the island. But from the teleportation circle, he could clearly see the edge of the island a few kilometers away. It was in the shape of a huge circle, slowly rotating to a place where his vision could not reach. Yu Yang and the Bloody Queen came to the edge of the island and bent down to look down. They realized that they could not see the bottom at all. It was extremely deep, and they could not see the ground at all. Maybe there was no ground at all. Looking up, they could see many dilapidated houses, lush forests, and some towers that stood on dangerous cliffs. There was definitely a sky island in the 3rd floor of Tong Tian Tower, but it was definitely impossible to have such a huge sky island. Even the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower did not have one. The Thunder Fortress could not be compared to this place. Moreover, strictly speaking, the Thunder Fortress was not a floating island. What kind of power could make such a huge island float in the sky? Where was this place? It was impossible to be in the 3rd floor of Tong Tian Tower. The gravity here was comparable to the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower. Moreover, there was no such sky island in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, or even 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower. There might be secret areas in the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower that no one had discovered, such as the 5 Elements Palace. However, it was impossible for such a huge sky island to not be discovered by anyone. Yu Yang and the Bloody Queen tried to fly down. After flying for tens of kilometers, they still did not reach the bottom of the sky island. Only when they were about 100 kilometers did they realize that it was gradually becoming smaller. Finally, it was a completely sharp bottom. Looking down, it was not land, but also endless sky. My God, could this be the legendary Sky City? From the knowledge inheritance of the pitiful guy's mother, Yu Yang knew that there was a kind of extra-large Sky City in the Heaven Realm. It was huge and could accommodate tens of millions of people without being crowded. Many powerful sects or races would occupy such a huge sky island and lead their own clansmen or sect disciples to build their own Sky City. Let's not talk about the Heaven Realm for now. How did this huge sky island come about? Was this the Heaven Realm? Impossible. It was not that easy to enter the Heaven Realm. It was possible that the sky island fell from the Heaven Realm and landed here. The problem was, who had such great power to make it fall? Looking up at the sky island from a distance, Yu Yang found that he had never been so shocked in his life. It was too huge. Compared to it, Humans were simply indescribably small. What was the feeling of seeing this sky island? It was like seeing Gue, Jianshou, and Despair abyss upside down from the ground and put them in the sky. The shock was even more exaggerated. Yu Yang found that there were no humans here, but there were also demonic beasts, and the species was completely different from the outside world. The most terrifying thing was their level. Almost all of them were gold-ranked and above. Only the cubs were bronze-ranked or silver-ranked. There were not many demonic beasts here, and they were strangely afraid of humans. When they saw Yu Yang and the Bloody Queen flying near, they immediately hid far away. There were many buildings here. Yu Yang had seen them before. Other than the fact that there was no one living inside, everything else was there. There were pots and beds, no different from the rooms in a normal town. It was as if the people here had just left yesterday. Moreover, the buildings here were completely different from the ones in the Soaring Dragon continent. No matter if it was the interior or exterior, they were all extremely exquisite. There were carved beams and painted rafters. The style was distinct. No matter if it was a single room or a group of rooms, they were all very artistic. A type of heaven rune words could be seen everywhere. Rumble, from a faraway place, there was a loud sound. Following that, the sound was heard again and again, very rhythmically. Yu Yang hurriedly let the Bloody Queen return to the grimoire world first. He concealed his presence and disguised himself as a non-living being. Using the silver-ranked battle eagle made by Yu Gong, he was brought to the place where the sound came from. After advancing for tens of kilometers, they passed through a large forest. At the edge of the forest, Yu Yang stopped in his tracks. From afar, he could see that there was an incomparably huge palace a few kilometers away. Magnificent gold and jade. Looking at this palace, Yu Yang felt that even if he used up all the words in the world, he would not be able to accurately describe its magnificence and magnificence. Compared to this palace, Jun Weiyu's palace was simply like a straw house. Tian Luo Kingdom's palace was the most beautiful palace in the entire Soaring Dragon continent. However, compared to this palace, it paled in comparison. It was not even a tenth of this palace. What made Yu Yang exclaim the most was that there was a layer of golden barrier outside this magnificent palace. It looked like a summoning grimoire's barrier, but it was an eternal existence with no time limit. Furthermore, it was so huge that it could cover an area of tens of square kilometers. It was really too terrifying. Yu Yang was dumbfounded. He could not believe his own eyes at all. Compared to the Night Empress Fata Morgana, the barrier here was 100 times bigger. In the sky, there was an extremely small black dot. It was emitting an aura that could intimidate the entire world. It was holding a hammer-shaped holy weapon that shone with 100-meter radiance and fiercely attacking the barrier, over and over again. The hammer-shaped holy weapon collided with the barrier, creating a terrifying hurricane. The shock wave swept across the ground. Every time it struck, it would produce a rumbling sound that shook the heavens and the earth. However, even so, it was all in vain. The barrier did not budge at all. After being struck for so long, it showed no signs of weakening. When Yu Yang saw this black dot with his heaven eyes divine vision, he was so scared that he immediately shrank back and hid in the forest, afraid that the other party would find him. Meow, meow. This seemingly small black dot was actually the prison emperor divine general from 6,000 years ago, the Black Hell King today. Why would the Black Hell King appear here? He seemed to want to break the barrier and enter this palace. Then, what secret was this palace hiding? Chapter 443. Black Hell King brandished his hammer-shaped holy ranked weapon and attacked crazily for 10 minutes. There was no effect. In the end, he changed to an axe-shaped holy ranked weapon and attacked the golden barrier for another 10 minutes. In the end, it was to no avail. This barrier was not something that could be broken by brute force. Even Black Hell King's attacks were not able to damage it at all. Yu Yang secretly laughed when he saw this. Black Hell King deserved to be unlucky to face such a powerful barrier. The problem was, why did Black Hell King insist on entering this palace? What kind of treasure was inside that made Black Hell King so determined to enter? Could it be that this palace was the legendary Sky City from Heaven Realm? Could it be that the three great leaders of Heaven Realm had fallen during the battle with Prison Emperor? If it was, why didn't the old dragon Turtle mention this palace to him? There was another possibility. That was 10,000 years ago, or even more ancient, this Sky City had fallen. No one knew about it, but somehow it was discovered by Black Hell King. Damn it. Black Hell King changed to 5 or 6 holy ranked weapons. He was exhausted, but his attacks were to no avail. He could not help but roar towards the sky as he had nowhere to vent his anger. Pighead, what a pighead! Yu Yang hid in the bushes and counted the ants. He was overjoyed. One day, Bailuo Palace will belong to me. Prison Emperor, Black Hell, will definitely surpass you. I will definitely break through the barrier and conquer this Bailuo Palace that even you can't conquer. I will obtain the Divine Grimoire and become the master of this place. Divine Grimoire, one day, you will belong to me, Black Hell. I will definitely become the strongest in Tong Tian Tower and conquer everything, including Heaven Realm. The Black Hell King brandished his fists and shouted at the top of his lungs, just like how Hitler gave his speech. In the end, no one paid any attention to him. The Black Hell King roared like a madman. With a holy ranked axe in one hand and a holy ranked hammer in the other, he struck the golden barrier dozens of times to vent his anger. After a long time, he took a deep breath. He gradually calmed down. His aura also became deeper, as if he had become a completely different person. He caressed the golden barrier with his hands and spoke in an extremely gentle voice, as if he was talking to his lover. I know that you are still rejecting me because I am not qualified. However, I will prove to you that I can meet your requirements. I am qualified to be your master. Wait for me. The next time I come, I will be even stronger. After Black Hell King left, after a long time, Yu Yang patted his chest. That was close. He almost screamed. There was actually a divine grimoire in this palace. My goodness, no wonder the Black Hell King was like a bull in heat, desperately attacking the barrier. So there was a divine grimoire inside. Even the Prison Emperor couldn't enter? Even the Prison Emperor, who was able to seal the three great leaders of Heaven Realm, was unable to enter. It seemed like the Black Hell King's efforts were in vain. The problem was, if the Black Hell King couldn't enter, could he? If he could enter the legendary godly grimoire, even if he couldn't get it, it would be good to move it back to the grimoire world, as long as he couldn't let anyone else get it. There were only 10 divine grimoires in total. One less meant one less formidable opponent. Not to mention the divine grimoire. Even the holy grimoire was an unreachable existence. As Yu Yang thought about it, his heart itched, as if a cat's paw was scratching his heart. Just as he was about to stand up, suddenly, a bone-chilling feeling enveloped his entire body. A strange feeling of being spied on came from afar, scaring Yu Yang so much that he immediately laid down on the grass. Even his heartbeat was stopped, and his breath was completely concealed, turning him into a stone-like existence. He saw the Black Hell King returning. He was wearing a holy armor and holding a holy staff in his hand. From time to time, he would shoot circles of sapphire blue light onto the ground. It seemed like he was trying to investigate something. Could it be that he discovered something amiss just now? The sapphire blue light spread on the ground one by one. All the living beings appeared as red dots, forming a stark contrast with the sapphire blue light. With the power of the holy staff, the Black Hell King could see the living beings on the ground clearly. Yu Yang cried bitterly in his heart. This fellow's entire body was filled with holy ranked equipments. Even though he wanted to kill him, he might not be able to do so for the time being. This was because the Black Hell King was at least a heaven-ranked level 1 ranker. He was 10 times stronger than the Phoenix Fairy Beauty who had been reborn. Moreover, this did not include the Black Hell King's hidden strength. If he went all out and reached his limit, Yu Yang believed that the Black Hell King could reach heaven-ranked level 2 or even higher. With a heaven-ranked level 2 and a body full of holy equipments, it was impossible for Yu Yang to kill the Black Hell King, at least not for now. Yu Yang thought that if he could obtain the Mother Earth Potion, his strength would increase by another level. If he worked together with Night Empress and Impatience, it might be possible. Although the Mother Earth potion was good, it was not time yet. Jiang Ying, the hornless dragon, was also very anxious. She had even sent a message to Yu Yang to be ready. In order to become a divine beast, she would do anything. The soaring dragon continent was being invaded. She didn't care. Yu Yang replied to her in the Warriors Guild that if the soaring dragon continent were to go to war, he would accompany her to obtain the Mother Earth potion. In that case, she would have to bring the spider army to the soaring dragon continent to help. Of course, Yu Yang's intention was to contract her. This was only a small condition on the surface, to dispel the hornless dragon's wariness. Jiang Ying, the hornless dragon, did not know of Yu Yang's evil intentions and agreed. If it was in the past, before his counterfeit inherent skill was upgraded, Yu Yang would definitely not be able to escape this kind of detection. Now, Yu Yang was lucky enough to escape. Of course, this was related to the fact that the halo did not sweep his body directly. If the halo had swept him, even if his counterfeit inherent skill was upgraded to another level, it would still be difficult. The Black Hell King was just being cautious. He did not know that other than himself, Yu Yang had also barged into this mysterious space. The second time he left, the Black Hell King felt more at ease because he did not find any enemies. He thought that his uneasiness was just an illusion. Yu Yang, who had escaped death under the power of his counterfeit inherent skill, secretly wiped off his cold sweat. It was really dangerous just now. He did not know when the Black Hell King would return, so Yu Yang did not rush to the Golden Barrier to investigate. Instead, he returned to the Grimoire world to rest. In fact, this cautious move of his saved his life again. Before he left, the Black Hell King had set up many warning runic circles in many places. As long as Yu Yang came near, they would be triggered immediately. Yu Yang went back to rest. These runic circles, which only had a 1-hour time limit, naturally lost their effectiveness. City Mistress Fallen Flowers saw that Yu Yang was very excited and asked curiously, "Found a treasure? Why are you so happy?" Yu Yang did not reply and bent down to hug the beauty. "I'll keep it a secret first. I'll show it off when I really get it." "Fallen Flowers, did you miss me?" City Mistress Fallen Flowers' body softened from his touch. She rolled her eyes at him coquettishly. "I'm going to faint. You do this the moment you come back. Wu Hen, save me." Yu Yang laughed loudly. "She can't save you. Both of you should serve your husband together." "Oh my God, only you could think of that." City Mistress Fallen Flowers was really dizzy. Seeing that she could not break free, she bit her lover's shoulder with her little white teeth. "Who's afraid of who? Don't think that I'm a pushover." Following that, a huge battle broke out. The room was filled with the flames of love. The beauty was like a swallow, flying and singing together. As expected, the battle ended with a certain city mistress and her ally being defeated and begging for mercy. After a good rest, Yu Yang set off in high spirits. Standing in front of the Golden Barrier, he did not attack it with brute force like the Black Hell King. Instead, he thought of another way. From afar, it looked like a thin layer of Golden Barrier. But up close, Yu Yang realized that it was actually a meter thick. He reckoned that even his innate sword chi would not be able to penetrate it. What else could he do? Sword chi plus teleportation? Yu Yang shot out a streak of innate sword chi. With a sizzling sound, it shot 3 inches into the Golden Barrier and stopped unexpectedly. At the moment of teleportation, the Golden Barrier gave off a slight ripple and sent Yu Yang flying 100 meters away. He smashed into the ground and was in a sorry state. Only now did Yu Yang realize why the Black Hell King used such a weird rhythm to attack. It was because he could not break through the thick Golden Barrier. At the same time, he had to counteract the rebound of the Golden Barrier. That was why he had such a weird rhythm. Every attack had to be executed in 2 parts. One was to attack, and the other was to counteract. Otherwise, the rebound force would be unbearable. Yu Yang suffered a loss and did not use any more tricks, because there was no loophole in front of absolute defense. "Chilla girl, come out, there's something good." "Baby, go and tell Sister Bing Een that there's a palace here with a divine grimoire. Let her go in and bring it out. I'll reward her handsomely." Although Yu Yang could not enter, he did not panic. He knew that there was someone who could definitely do it, and that was the Qilin girl Bangyin. The problem was that this girl was sleeping and recuperating in the divine grimoire. To summon her out, he needed little Wenli to go and tell the Qilin girl the good news. Yes, yes. Little Wenli was always so obedient. She turned into a streak of colorful light and disappeared in the blink of an eye. After about 10 seconds, there was a reaction. The clear cry of the phoenix resounded through the clouds, making one's soul tremble. It was so fast that one could not see it clearly with their eyes. Even Yu Yang's divine vision could not do it. In an instant, the Phoenix sisters had already entered the golden barrier. Yu Yang only had time to see the colorful light trailing behind them. If the Black Hell King saw this, he would definitely cry. He had been bombarding it with his holy weapon for half an hour and was as tired as a dead dog. The golden barrier was not damaged at all, and the Phoenix sisters did not even need 1,000th of a second to pass through the golden barrier and enter the magnificent palace. If the Black Hell King saw this scene, why bother conquering the soaring dragon continent and Tong Tian Tower? He could just find a rope and hang it up. Next was the Qilin girl. She carried a sweet fragrance. When she ran out, her little face still had a cute look as if she had just woken up. Her eyes lit up. When she saw the palace, she ignored Yu Yang and happily rushed in, just like a female robber who had seen a treasure. The confinement here is so powerful. Don't be afraid. Luckily, I still have my ultimate move. The Qilin girl rushed into the golden barrier, and her speed decreased, as if it was very difficult for her to run. She ran back like a wisp of smoke and muttered some incantations. Her hands formed a special secret seal, and her whole body shone brightly. Bathed in the colorful light, her two beautiful and cute little horns shone even more brightly. She bent her body and jogged all the way. She used her horns to break open the golden barrier and rushed in. Yu Yang's face was full of tears. He regretted not informing them if he had known earlier, because they were the #1 female robbers in the world. If they had ransacked this palace, he probably wouldn't even be able to get a share of the leftovers. The Qilin girl laughed heartily and ran into the palace in a flash. After a while, she ran out happily and comforted the dejected Yu Yang. There really is a divine grimoire, but don't think about it. The divine grimoire chooses its owner. If it doesn't recognize you as its owner, you won't be able to use it even if I give it to you. I found quite a lot of good stuff and many space restrictions. I reckon there are more treasures inside. When I find good stuff, I will give 1 or 2 to you. Don't cry. Wait here obediently for your sister. Be good. How is this comforting? This was simply rubbing salt on his wounds. When Yu Yang got angry and was about to spank her little butt, she ran in laughing loudly. Without you, Qilin girl, do you think I can't go in? Yu Yang took out his last treasure, which was the quintet seeking golden mice. These 5 mice were not good at fighting, but they were very good at finding treasures. At least, before this, they did not disappoint Yu Yang. Once they were summoned, the quintet seeking golden mice searched around the golden barrier. They could not enter, but they would look for the secret door. In a short while, they found a huge secret door. Accurately speaking, this was not a door, but a runic circle on the golden barrier. It was invisible, but the quintet seeking golden mice found it. Yu Yang stretched out his hand and carefully sensed it. He carefully read and studied the runes on it, and vaguely understood that this was a secret door that could be entered using some kind of secret method, but it required the owner's permission. It was the same principle as the grimoire world, but the problem was that without a beast to guide him in, even if Yu Yang found a way to enter the secret door, it would be useless. Moreover, he had not found a way to enter the secret door. Little Wenli, try and see if you can enter. Yu Yang suddenly slapped his forehead. He was really stupid. Little Wenli had a diamond grimoire since birth. She was at least a divine beast. Although she was not as exaggerated as the Qilin girl and the Phoenix sisters, she was still very strong and should be able to enter. Yes, yes. Little Wenli was still the most obedient. She cutely nodded at Yu Yang and summoned her grimoire with her little hand. She tried her best to walk towards the secret door with the golden barrier, her expression extremely solemn. Stone Element Medusa, Storm Mermaid, Thunder Naga, and ice serpent demon. The four guardian beasts all came out and worked together to help little one Lee. They used all their strength to point at the secret door, so that little one Lee could move forward a little. In the end, even the Bloody Queen and Barbarian Cow Shadow came out and used all their strength to help little one Lee. However, all their strength could only allow little one Lee to swim 2 steps forward, not more than half a foot, and the golden barrier was a meter thick. Yu Yang was quick-witted and used all his strength. He raised his innate chi to the limit and shot out his strongest sword. In front of little one Lee, a small hole that was almost a meter deep appeared. Little one Lee also understood and immediately turned into a colorful light, shooting into the small hole. Something that made Yu Yang terrified happened. The secret door on the golden barrier that had a small hole instantly moved 100 meters away. It immediately turned into an absolute defensive barrier, trapping little one Lee inside. No, oh my God. Yu Yang was scared out of his wits. He was really afraid that little one Lee would be squashed and die. Although guardian beasts would not really die, Yu Yang did not want little one Lee to experience that kind of pain. He pounced towards the barrier and used all his strength, trying to save her. However, his efforts were in vain. Instead, he was blown away by the barrier and fell more than 10 meters away. She's fine, don't worry. The Bloody Queen quickly came over to support Yu Yang, who was so scared that his heart almost stopped beating, and comforted him. Yu Yang then realized that little one Lee had summoned her grimoire the moment the barrier closed. Even the protective shield of the diamond-ranked grimoire was crushed beyond recognition. There was only less than an inch of space. It was outside of little one Lee's body, along little one Lee's body, protecting her from being squashed. Yu Yang had never seen a barrier that was deformed like this. Even if Sky Execution, Baruth, Shun Tian, and the Black Prince and other Supreme Innates combined their strength, they would not be able to compress the barrier to this extent, let alone a low-level innate. It was compressed like a small ball, tightly wrapping around little one Lee. Little one Lee's tail was coiled on top of the diamond grimoire, and her 6 small hands were supporting the barrier an inch away. Baby, don't be afraid. I'll save you immediately. Yu Yang was ready to unleash his strongest attack to save little one Lee. Compared to treasures, holy grimoires, and divine grimoires, even if he had 1,000 or 10,000 of them, Yu Yang would not exchange them for little one Lee's life. She was his most precious and precious darling. Yu Yang's heart broke when he saw little one Lee try her best to smile at him, even though she was trapped. He blamed himself. It was all his fault for being greedy for treasures. Otherwise, he would not have trapped little one Lee in such a dangerous situation. He knew that this place was extremely dangerous, but he still let her take the risk. If he were to do it again, he would never do it again. When Yu Yang unleashed his strongest attack again, little one Lee's eyes widened. Her piercingly cold eyes shot out like rays of light. The golden barrier that was supposed to close up after being pierced by the innate sword chi was actually frozen by her binding inherent skill for 1/10 of a second. Even 100th of a second was enough. When Yu Yang calmed himself down and looked again, he realized that little one Lee, who had turned into a rainbow light, had already escaped from the golden barrier. However, she was not in front of him, but on the other side. Little one Lee was waving at him proudly, indicating that she had succeeded. However, because she had overexerted herself, there was blood mixed with tears flowing out of her eyes. 2 streaks of blood flowed down her smooth little face. Seeing this scene, Yu Yang's nose turned sour. He really wanted to hug this little baby and give her a big kiss. Then, he would never let go of her. The stone element Medusa, the storm mermaid, the thunder naga, and the ice serpent demon, who had overexerted themselves, raised their arms and cheered. Bits of golden light rose from their bodies. When they saw this, they cheered even more happily. To Yu Yang's surprise, colorful lights flashed on top of little one Lee's head, as if a rainbow was dancing. A detailed shockwave spread out soundlessly. Then, a particularly dazzling golden beam of light shot straight into the sky. It even drew a miraculous arc on the golden barrier and slid even higher into the sky. Little Wen Li, who had not leveled up for a long time, finally broke through this golden barrier. She leveled up. Yu Yang was extremely touched. Indeed, there would be gains only when there was effort. Even if he couldn't get the divine grimoire or any treasures, it was all worth it, because the most awesome little Wen Li had finally leveled up. One must know that this was what Yu Yang had been looking forward to for a long time. After the battle with the three great leaders of Heaven Realm, Void and Jiu Shao in the Prison Emperor Divine Palace, all of his beasts leveled up. Little Wen Li had also leveled up to Diamond Ranked Level 4. However, after so many battles, including the fierce battle where they ambushed the Scarlet Emperor, Little Wen Li still showed no signs of leveling up. Until today. Only then did she level up again. She leveled up again. There was no fierce battle. It was completely a moment of life and death. She erupted with her greatest strength and used her greatest talent to break through the golden shield of the divine grimoire, and also broke through her own limits. Finally, she successfully leveled up. She actually broke through the golden barrier that even the Black Hell King sighed helplessly at. Yu Yang looked up to the sky and took a deep breath. He had to use this action to barely suppress the emotions in his heart. What else could be happier than seeing his beloved little baby level up and grow? Chapter 444. Xiao only leveled up. She leveled up from level 4 diamond to level 5 diamond. However, the most powerful thing was the leveling up of her binding inherent skill. After leveling up this time, Little Wen Li obtained a skill called Soul Chain. Soul Chain. Shoot out spiritual chains with the power of the eyes to shackle the enemy's soul. Once successful, the enemy's soul can be pulled out of the body. The casting condition is that the user cannot be interrupted or move their body during the casting process. Soul Chain is effective on all living creatures. The stronger the enemy's soul, the weaker the skill. It doesn't work on people without souls. With this, Shun Tian and the Black Prince will have a hard time. Yu Yang believed that regardless of whether this skill could shackle super innates like Shun Tian and the Black Prince, it would definitely have an effect. Once they were affected, he could take the opportunity to beat them up. Now, if he met Shun Tian and the others again, Yu Yang was confident that he could defeat them. Shun Tian and the Black Prince had spent hundreds of years to cultivate strong beasts. If they met the current Little Wen Li, they would probably be severely restrained. With the binding inherent skill and the soul chain, even Shun Tian's diamond-ranked level 9 Golden Emperor, who was good at combat skills, would probably be defeated. The lethality of soul-type skills had always been the most terrifying. For example, the barbaric Cow Shadow's Death Stare. Very few beasts had the ability to defend against soul-type attacks. Most of the beasts had strong bodies, but their souls were very weak and had no defense at all. Little Wen Li's current level was still low. If she leveled up again, Yu Yang was confident that he could kill experts like Shun Tian and the Black Prince. As long as Little Wen Li could freeze Shun Tian, Yu Yang's world exterminating wheel, Nirvana Flame, and innate sword Qi would be released at the same time. Shun Tian would be severely injured or even killed instantly. Of course, without enough confidence, Yu Yang wouldn't use his strongest attack on Shun Tian. He had to hide his real killer move and deceive the enemy, waiting for the best opportunity to kill the enemy. It was fine if he didn't attack, but he would kill with one strike. This was the tactic that Yu Yang used against Shun Tian and the Black Prince. Usually, when his strength increased, or when the opportunity came, he would eliminate them, just like how he eliminated the Sky Dragon. Although Shun Tian and the Black Prince were far more powerful and cunning than Sky Dragon, these are not a problem. Yu Yang's current target was no longer them, but the Scarlet Emperor. Even the Black Hell King was no longer a target that Yu Yang wanted to surpass. Compared to the Scarlet Emperor, the Black Hell King was at most as strong as the Scarlet Concubine beside the Scarlet Emperor. They were not even on the same level. He didn't know about the beasts, but Yu Yang saw that the Scarlet Emperor had at least one divine equipment in his hands. As for the Black Hell King, even though he had a full set of holy ranked equipment, he didn't have a single one. Otherwise, he would have used it when he smashed the golden barrier. A god artifact? When will I be able to obtain a god artifact? Yu Yang sighed. Among the 3 divine equipment of the prison emperor, although the divine sword acknowledged him as its master, he couldn't use it due to the interference of the prison emperor's soul. Instead, it was given to Princess Sis-Eyes Tigress. Divine seal? Although it was in his hands, it hadn't acknowledged him yet. He could only use it to smash chestnuts. Needless to say, the old dragon turtle had snatched the divine staff to recover his strength. He probably planned to use it to fight the Black Hell King. Before he killed the Black Hell King, he wouldn't hand it over to Yu Yang. There will be one. It might not be the crescent moon, but Hui Jin will definitely become a god artifact. Bloody Queen Red suddenly comforted Yu Yang. Her words stunned Yu Yang. Since when did this girl know how to comfort people? If this was the case, then her progress in humanization was really fast. When Bloody Queen Red saw Yu Yang looking at her, her face turned red. She lowered her head and didn't say anything. She wrung her hands, looking shy and uneasy like a little girl. Yu Yang was even more stunned. If this continued, forget about a holy beast, she could even become a divine beast very quickly. Could it be that Bloody Queen Red would be the second beast after Hui Tai Lang to contract a grimoire successfully? The sound of phoenix cries rang out again. Yu Yang couldn't react in time. 2 spots of colorful light had already appeared in the sky. In an instant, they entered Yu Yang's body. They were unbelievably fast and completely ignored the barrier of the golden barrier. Behind them, there was a fire phoenix formed by nirvana flame. It danced endlessly and penetrated through the barrier as well. It floated above Yu Yang's head and merged with him. Yu Yang didn't know what treasure the Phoenix sisters had obtained. They didn't say anything and hurriedly returned to the divine grimoire to continue their hibernation. On the other hand, the nirvana flame phoenix that they were riding on merged with Yu Yang's body. It carried the Phoenix sisters' unique celestial energy and slowly purified Yu Yang's body. This was different from the previous 3 purifications. Not only was Yu Yang's body fully purified, a pair of nirvana flame wings had also extended outside his body. This pair of nirvana flame wings was different from the demon's bat wings, the giant dragon's dragon wings, and the angel's wings. They weren't shaped and were completely made of flames. They were formed by the nirvana flame. His arms, shoulders, back, sides, legs, and even his ankles were all burning with this special kind of flame. They were nirvana flame, but they also carried celestial energy and merged with each other. To be more accurate, the Phoenix sisters had created a fire phoenix that would never dissipate and allowed it to merge with Yu Yang's body. Then, it would move according to the needs of the outside world. This was the gift they had given him. Yu Yang couldn't make heads or tails of it for a long time. He really didn't know what kind of treasure they had obtained inside that they would think of giving him such a fire phoenix. If Yu Yang were to do it himself, it wasn't that he couldn't use the nirvana flame to create a fire phoenix. However, the fire phoenix that Yu Yang created wouldn't be able to last for so long, let alone move naturally. Yu Yang could feel that this fire phoenix wasn't alive, but it was an eternal existence. Rather than calling it a beast, it would be better to call it a weapon or a piece of defensive equipment. It could even be called a mount, a mystical mount that didn't need to be fed and could even slowly purify its owner's physique. The fire phoenix gradually disappeared into Yu Yang's body, leaving only an extremely thin and light flame cloak on the surface of his skin. When Yu Yang used his mind to control it, it could immediately transform into a flame spear, a flame shield, or even a flame bow. If he let it move naturally, it would become a pair of fire wings or a flame cloak. This is too awesome. This is even more useful than a divine equipment. Yu Yang was pleasantly surprised. It seemed that the reason why the Phoenix sisters ran so fast was not because of the 2 little bandits, but because they were anxious to create a new treasure for him. Was there a treasure that was more awesome and useful than this fire phoenix? Even if he gave Yu Yang a divine equipment, no, 10 of them, to exchange for this fire phoenix, Yu Yang would definitely not exchange it. What was suitable for him was the best. Just when Yu Yang regretted blaming the Phoenix sisters, he suddenly saw the Qilin girl being in running out carrying a huge golden coffin. As usual, she used her horns to push open the golden barrier and turn from a small path to a slow jog. However, in just a moment, she successfully drilled out. If the Black Hell King saw that the Cheeling girl had entered the golden barrier so easily, he would definitely cry to death. Yu Yang was overjoyed and asked, "Girl, is this for me?" He guessed that the Cheeling girl must have taken a lot of treasures inside. However, it was already good that she still remembered him. The Cheeling girl Bing Yin's tone made Yu Yang speechless. It's not very big inside, and there aren't many treasures. There's almost nothing suitable for me to use. I'll give this to you. Remember to inform me the next time you see a treasure. All right, I'll also give you this bottle. Didn't you want to make a living puppet? The things in this bottle should be suitable. Ah, I'm sleepy. I'm going back to sleep for a while. Girl, can you bring me in for a walk? Yu Yang was a man who was never content. How could he not be tempted when he saw that there were so many treasures in the palace? I can't bring you with me because of your mortal body, but I can bring little one Li and the others. The Cheeling girl Bing Yin opened her jade-like hands, and countless colorful lights bloomed from her jade-like hands. Bloody Queen Red, Barbarian Cow Shadow on Man, Stone Element Medusa, Storm Mermaid, Thunder Naga, Ice Serpent Demon, and even the 5 gold-seeking mice all shrunk to the size of beans and were held in her small fists. She half bent down and rushed into the golden shield again. Until now, Yu Yang discovered that compared with immortal beasts, magical beasts, war beasts, holy beasts, and divine beasts were all floating clouds. Just this immortal technique, which he didn't know the name of, could miniaturize multiple targets. It was enough to sweep the entire Tong Tian Tower. Shun Tian's war beast, the Golden Emperor, was 5 meters tall. Was it very powerful? Once it shrunk to the size of Meng Bean, it could be pinched to death with 2 fingers. Was the great demon King Baruth, who was more than 10 meters tall, very powerful? Once it shrunk to the size of an ant, it could be stepped on. When the Cheeling girl Bing Yin sent the war beasts in and ran back, Yu Yang grabbed her. "Cheeling girl, I don't care about other treasures, but you must teach me this spell to shrink people. You can't use it now. Besides, using this spell requires the help of treasures, and there are many conditions. Do you think it's so easy?" However, the Cheeling girl refused to teach this unique skill to Yu Yang. Yu Yang tried his best to persuade her, but she refused to teach him. In the end, she even used an excuse to escape. "I didn't sleep well today and my voice seems a little hoarse. Oh no, my mother told me to talk less." Like a wisp of smoke, she went back to the divine grimoire world. Yu Yang couldn't do anything to her. He wanted to learn, but this girl refused to teach. What could he do? Unless he picked up this girl and became her man, only then would it be possible. However, this girl seemed to be very young. Forget it. It was a good habit to raise a lowly. Anyway, his plan to raise a lowly was still in progress, and this Cheeling girl wouldn't make a difference. Yes, there was no hurry. Slowly raise it. Little One Li and the others went into the palace to explore. Yu Yang had nothing to do, so he turned his gaze to the 2 treasures that the Cheeling girl brought to him. A golden coffin, and on the coffin there was a crystal bottle, which seemed to be filled with water. Was this God's water? Could it be that the crystal bottle contained the legendary God's water? God's water, the source of energy that nourishes all life. Pure, clean, fluid, untaintable, unblemished, undiluted, has an independent divinity that purifies itself. It has a miraculous effect in reconstructing all life's limbs or dispelling all negative effects. It is an essential source of life for creating intelligent life. It can be used to create God's blood and replenish God's power. Oh my God, Yu Gong's 3rd wish really has a chance to come true. Yu Yang held the crystal bottle and used his heaven eyes divine vision to look at it. When he realized that the bottle in his hands was really God's water and not a dream, he immediately cheered. If there is a group of little Lolas at home, everything will be awesome. When Yu Yang thought of this, he almost burst into tears. He was really too touched. Chapter 445. The gold coffin was sealed with both heaven runes and ancient runes. Yu Yang was unable to open it at the moment. Yu Yang was also worried that a mummy would jump out if he opened it. It would be fine if it was a normal mummy. But if it was a heaven-ranked rancor that was stronger than the Lich King, such as the legendary undead emperor, then it would be a huge problem. Let's not talk about whether he could defeat it first. What if this mummy ran away? How could he chase after it? Yu Yang did not think that he would be able to catch an undead emperor that was as strong as the Black Hell King if it jumped out from the gold coffin. He stored it in the platinum storage ring first. When he returned to the grimoire world, he would open it up and study it slowly. On the other side, Xiao and Li and the others were also exploring this mysterious palace under the guidance of the 5 seeking golden mice. The inside was filled with restrictive spells, and also filled with all kinds of barriers and isolation areas. They could only see the garden, statues, main hall, stairs, corridors, towers, and a few rooms that could be entered. Places like the study room, secret room, basement, or the various halls where the emperor's concubines lived had small barriers that prevented them from entering. In other words, they could not enter the place where the real treasures were kept. However, they also found many good things outside the hall. They found scattered weapons and armors in the outer residences of the royal army or in the arrow towers. The lowest ranked soldier's armor was a silver-ranked treasure. However, most of these treasures were broken and almost all of them were useless. There were treasures like the 9 Dragons Cauldron or the Tao Tai Big Clock. However, those were too heavy and huge. Little One Li and the others did not move them. They were also unable to determine if moving them would affect the palace. They only looked around hurriedly. In the end, before the Bloody Queen came out, she dug out 2 pots of flowers from the Imperial Garden. These were not for Yu Yang, but for the 2 mistresses, Sickly Beauty and Fallen Flowers. She remembered that the mistress, Fallen Flowers, especially liked flowers. Giving her a pot of flowers was more suitable than giving her a treasure. It was very difficult to enter the golden barrier, but it was much easier to get out. Yu Yang unsummoned Little One Li, Bloody Queen Red, Barbarian Cow Shadow Man, and the Quintet Golden Puppet Mice all turned into light and returned to the grimoire world. Now that I've obtained the treasure, it's time to slip away. Yu Yang didn't have the time to see what he had obtained. He decided to slip away first. If the Black Hell King knew that he went in and obtained the treasure, it would be strange if he didn't hunt him down for thousands of miles. It was best not to fight with the Black Hell King for the time being. Yu Yang decided to wait for Jiang Ying, the hornless dragon, to bring him to find the Mother Earth potion. It would not be too late to fight with the Black Hell King after he consumed the potion and his power rose again. Most importantly, if the Black Hell King knew that he was here, he would definitely guard the perimeter and not let him in. Rather than robbing, it was better to steal. Not only was it strenuous to snatch it, but it was also easy for both sides to be injured, allowing the fishermen to reap the benefits. If the Black Hell King couldn't beat him and called for reinforcements, then it would be troublesome and the secret here would be exposed. On the contrary, he could steal it secretly, taking it a little at a time. Since the Black Hell King couldn't enter, the longer it took, the more advantageous it would be for him. Before leaving through the teleportation circle, Yu Yang checked carefully. He found out that this place was very well hidden. In addition, it had not been used for a long time, so the Black Hell King probably didn't even know that there was such a teleportation circle. After leaving, Yu Yang looked at his surroundings and then at the bloodflower map in the grimoire. He felt dizzy. The reason was that this place was not the 3rd floor of Tong Tian Tower, but the 4th floor. No wonder the Bloody Queen's mother said that she could ascend to the 4th floor. The reason was that the exit of this place was on the 4th floor. Based on this, Yu Yang speculated that the Bloody Queen's mother didn't enter the mysterious palace. Instead, she was at the outer perimeter. Maybe she obtained some lost treasures in some abandoned buildings, which greatly increased her power. It was even possible that she killed the gold-ranked beasts inside and obtained a large amount of magic crystals, thus increasing her power. But no matter what the reason was, the Bloody Queen's mother was definitely strengthened, leveled up, and successfully ascended to the 4th floor. Mother has her own life. It's fine if we can't find her. Although the Bloody Queen Red missed her mother a little, she felt that there was nothing she could do if she couldn't find her because Tong Tian Tower was too big. I'll look for her when I have the chance. Yu Yang actually felt that it was better not to look for her. If the Bloody Queen's mother died in battle, wouldn't she only be sad if she was found? Even if she couldn't find her, there was still hope. Even if she became stronger, she wouldn't be able to reach the level of a holy beast. The Bloody Queen Red had definitely surpassed her mother now. Even if her mother was very strong and didn't die in battle, wouldn't it be her turn to be sad when she saw her daughter become a human's beast? So, it was better if she couldn't find her. At least there was still hope. The Bloody Queen Red suddenly hugged Yu Yang tightly and buried her head in his embrace. After a long time, she sighed, "Actually, it's very good now. Although I don't have a mother, I have a lot of good friends, a lot of relatives, and Yu Yang was deeply touched by her humanness. He hugged her and comforted her. He reached out and caressed her hair, letting her feel his care. City Mistress Fallen Flowers had just run out. She thought that the embrace would still belong to her, but she didn't expect to see the Bloody Queen Red lying in Yu Yang's embrace. She was a little stunned. When the Bloody Queen Red heard footsteps, she hurriedly struggled out of Yu Yang's embrace. She tried to act natural, as if nothing had happened between her and Yu Yang. However, her face was flushed red and didn't disappear for a long time. Seeing that Luo Hua City Mistress had stopped in her tracks, she hurriedly took out the fresh flowers that she had dug out from the Imperial Garden and offered them to Luo Hua City Mistress respectfully and a little uneasy. "Wow, it's a golden silk butterfly. Oh my God, this is a golden silk butterfly orchid on the same level as the beautiful demonic flower and starlight, serene indigo grass." When City Mistress Fallen Flower saw this, she immediately forgot about the Bloody Queen Red lying in Yu Yang's embrace. "Are you tired? I prepared a bath for you. Go take a bath." Sickly Beauty was still the most gentle, fulfilling her duty as a wife. "It's boring to bathe alone. Why don't we bathe together?" Yu Yang bent down and carried Sickly Beauty up. When Sickly Beauty saw that Fallen Flowers and the Bloody Queen Red were still there, she was so embarrassed that her face turned red. She struggled a few times, but when she saw that she couldn't break free, she saw that City Mistress Fallen Flowers was so engrossed in admiring the 2 pots of golden silk butterfly orchid that she didn't even care about herself. Her embarrassment lessened a little, and she whispered into Yu Yang's ear, "Can we talk about it at night? I'll give you a massage later. You must be obedient. Let's not do that all day, especially when Bing Air and the others are back. Don't mess around like this. What if they find out?" The thick-skinned guy pretended not to hear her. He peeled the beauty into a little lamb and put her into the water. At most, the beauty would pretend to be angry and hit him lightly with her small hands. It was normal for a married couple to bathe together. Their happy life had just begun. If the guy from another world didn't enjoy it to the fullest, he would be stupid. The next day, Yu Yang arrived at the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower. He left a message for impatience. Yu Yang couldn't see clearly what was inside the gold coffin, even with his heaven eyes' divine vision. He couldn't see through this strange gold coffin. The Qilin girl didn't say what kind of treasure it was, so Yu Yang was really worried that a monster would jump out. He decided to find a strong and reliable helper, such as impatience. If she was by his side, it would be much safer for him to open the gold coffin himself. Moreover, the day of the Black Hell King's invasion of the soaring dragon continent was getting closer. Yu Yang still wanted to practice body fusion with impatience. Let's level up together. She was one of the main forces fighting against the Black Hell King. Without her, Yu Yang felt that the Night Empress might not be able to defeat the Black Hell King. After all, the Black Hell King, with a Heaven-ranked level 1, or even Heaven-ranked level 2. Night Empress' strength was unknown. Although he knew that she was extremely strong, Yu Yang wasn't sure how strong she was compared to the Black Hell King. As for impatience, Yu Yang was very clear that if she took the time to practice body fusion and made a breakthrough, impatience had a high chance of breaking through to Heaven-ranked level 1. She was currently innate level 10, which was also Earth-ranked level 10. However, because she had been reborn with innate chi and cleansed her marrows and meridians, Her strength far surpassed that of a normal innate level 10. If Yu Yang made a breakthrough while practicing body fusion with her, then there was a chance that she could reach heaven-ranked level 1. She could possibly be the second female innate elder after Jizun. Of course, if Night Empress had already reached that level, then she would be the third. Girl, come, I miss you. Yu Yang's letter to impatience was very simple. However, the longing it contained was real. This was because he really missed impatience. Even in his dreams, he dreamt of the impatience who could captivate all living things with a single smile. They agreed to wait at the edge of the plaza in the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower. Yu Yang went back to the soaring dragon continent first. He took out the thunder crystal and thunder armor that he needed to summon the thunder beast, the bloody queen red, the barbarian cow shadow man, and the others from the palace. Those silver-ranked weapons and armors, regardless of whether they could be used or not, he threw them all to Jun Wuyu. Jun Wuyu was stunned. Brat, where did you go to rob? You didn't empty my treasury, did you? Elder Yu Hai was very pleased in his heart, but he pretended to be serious. These weapons and armors are all broken. Many of them can't be used at all. They are all trash. It would be very difficult to repair them. The old cunning fox was afraid that Yu Yang would be angry, so he quickly comforted him. It can be repaired. I know an old fellow who can't do anything else, but he is good at repairing things. He is a good tinkerer, very obedient, Yu Yang. There's nothing else for you to do now. You could go and pick up girls. All right, I found a good thing in his secret room last time. Do you want to borrow it to study? It's very good for having a son, raising a child, and carrying on the family line. When Yu Yang saw this old fellow's sneaky look, he knew that those were erotic pictures. The most impressive thing was that these pictures were still moving. It looked like watching Sora Aoi Sensei act in a love-action movie. It was even more exciting. After all, this was the fruit of a certain perverted master in the soaring dragon continent. Don't look through it here. Take it back and slowly study it with your little wife. The old cunning fox couldn't stand this brat's boldness. A room full of powerful people, yet he dared to directly flip through the erotic pictures. One must know that these books were made with a secret recipe. They had all the sounds and colors on them. When they were all opened, they could even float in the air and be displayed in 3 dimensions. Principal, you are teaching this kid bad things. Yu Yang kept the book, but criticized the old cunning fox for being shameless with a straight face, making him so angry that he almost exploded. Of course, he couldn't let City Mistress Fallen Flowers and the others know about this good thing, otherwise they would definitely confiscate it. Yu Yang pretended to be an obedient child and ran to Tian Luo Palace to accompany Fourth Mother and Yu Yu. The next day, he sneaked up to the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower to see if Impatience had seen his letter and come meet him. After waiting for a long time, he didn't see her shadow. Yu Yang was slightly disappointed. He turned around and prepared to leave, going back to pretend to be an obedient child. Suddenly, a fragrant wind came from the sky, enveloping him completely. There was also a pair of soft, snow-white arms wrapped around his chest. On his back, there was an extremely wonderful feeling, an incomparably plump and full body pressed against his back. That kind of feeling could make one's bones go limp. It was ecstatic. What made Yu Yang the most pleasantly surprised was that the beauty behind him was coiled around him like a snake, her fragrant sandalwood mouth close to his ear. Little rascal, did you really miss me? How much did you miss me? Do you want to touch me or kiss me? Chapter 446. Hearing the beauty ask if he wanted to be touched or kissed, Yu Yang immediately nodded his head like a chick pecking at rice, indicating that he wanted both. You wish. Impatience, who was behind him, lightly bit Yu Yang's earlobe. It was slightly painful. The beauty then lightly licked him again. It was extremely light, but it was extremely tempting. This kind of flirtatious stimulation almost made Yu Yang turn into a werewolf, scratching the ground with his foreclaws and howling towards the sky. When he looked back, he found that the beauty was still the same, looking at him with a smile that was not a smile. Her bright eyes were full of hope, her pink cheeks were enchanting, and her cherry lips were faintly breathing hot air that could make a wolf's blood boil. That peerless elegance was enough to overpower everything in the world. For a moment, he couldn't help but stare blankly. Impatience lightly flicked Yu Yang's forehead with her jade-like fingers and coquettishly teased, "Little rascal, have you seen enough?" Yu Yang pretended to burp continuously. People say that beauty is a feast for the eyes. I never believed in the past, but now that I'm so full, I finally know that it's really like this. Hearing that Yu Yang was trying to please her, Impatience laughed. Oh, her jade-like fingers twisted Yu Yang's cheeks, and her cherry lips were very close to his. She humphed. "You really know how to coax people. No wonder you could win the hearts of so many girls. Little scoundrel, you might be able to use this to coax your Hunyo or Luo Huanyo, but it's useless against me. Big sister, I'm also doing this for my blissful sexual life. Don't expose me when the time comes." Yu Yang crossed his hands behind his back. He originally wanted to touch her and take advantage of her, but when he found that the beauty didn't resist, he became bold and simply held the beauty's fragrant buttocks. With a light push, he carried her on his back. Impatience didn't have the shyness of a normal girl. She smiled coquettishly and laid on Yu Yang's back. She wrapped her arms in front of her and wrapped her legs around Yu Yang's waist. Her whole body was like a beautiful snake coiling around him. "I heard that you fought with the 6 great celestial demons. How was it? Did they bully you to the point of tears?" Impatience's small hands disobediently burrowed into Yu Yang's clothes. This action not only caused Yu Yang's passion to soar, but also caused him to sweat profusely. This was because there were many martial artists watching from the side, dumbfounded. Yu Yang hurriedly grabbed Impatience's mischievous little hand, while his other hand waved out, "Heaven's Fury, Fire Lotus." A piercingly cold, oppressive power suddenly exploded. An invisible pressure that was even more horrifying than the Demon King's descent spread out. The weaker cultivators and the closest cultivators were all sent flying 100 meters away. The beast that was originally very arrogant was so scared that it peed its pants and lay down on the ground, not daring to move. The slower martial artists were knocked to the ground one by one, not knowing what to do. Very few martial artists with quick reactions immediately understood that this pair of lovey-dovey lovers in public were innates. Moreover, they were super innates. They were so scared that they hurriedly used all their strength to run away, wishing that they could grow more legs. Innate rancors generally hated people who pry into their privacy. Although it was unintentional, it definitely violated the other party's taboo. Fortunately, the other party did not kill them. Otherwise, with the power of that flame just now, it could have instantly killed all the living beings around them. When Impatience saw Yu Yang's move, she gave him a kiss on his face and smiled tenderly. "So, you have a new breakthrough. No wonder you dare to challenge the 6 great celestial demons alone. Although this little rascal is lecherous, he is indeed a genius in cultivation. This time, it's not as simple as just showing off your cultivation, right? I won't go for a fight. My injuries are not fully healed yet." "Ah, your injuries are not fully healed yet?" Yu Yang criticized with a little heartache. "Why did you leave so quickly if you're not fully healed? I'm not even asking you for rent. My body's injuries are healed, but my heart isn't." It turned out that Impatience was just teasing Yu Yang. She wanted to see him worried about her. She was very satisfied with Yu Yang's reaction just now. "I'm the best at healing heart wounds." Yu Yang was not angry. He hid behind Impatience and prepared to find a place to talk. "Let's go to my Charm Demon Palace. I'm afraid I'll have to work hard for you in the future. I probably won't have a chance to go back and manage the Charm Demon Palace anymore. I have to return it to the Charm Demon clan." Impatience was right. She knew that Yu Yang would definitely look for her to ally with him, because there was going to be a big battle against the Black Hell King. After the battle against the Black Hell King, there was still the Scarlet Emperor and Scarlet Concubine. After the battle, she still had to go to the Heaven Realm. In the Heaven Realm, there were the 3 great leaders, Void, Jiu Shao, and Ming Yuguan. A fierce battle was unavoidable. If that's the case, how would she have time to manage the Charm Demon Palace? The reason why she managed the Charm Demon Palace was because she had time to train and find something to do when she was bored. Now that there were continuous fierce battles, she had to train hard to level up. How could she care about anything else? Impatience did not say, but there was actually another rule in the Charm Demon Palace. If every Charm Demon found a man they loved, they had to bring him back to their clan and accept the congratulations of their clansmen. Then, they would leave the Charm Demon Palace with their loved one and live happily ever after. Although Phoenix Fairy Beauty couldn't be said to be in love with Yu Yang to the point of wanting to die, it was impossible for her not to have any feelings for him after the continuous bloody battles and the body fusion dual body cultivation. No matter how strong she was still a girl. They trained together naked and went through life and death together many times. How could she forget about it with a smile? In the past, Impatience had never met such a special man, nor did she open her heart to accept a man. It was different now. Although it was because she was jealous of her sister and wanted to steal her disciple. But after a long time of training and fighting side by side, Yu Yang had unknowingly entered her heart. So, Impatience decided to give this little boy a chance. He was very young, ridiculously young, but the problem was that those things were not important at all. What was important was that he had strength, potential, and liked her very much. One had to break through bottlenecks in training. Legend had it that one had to cut off the emotions, cut off the six senses, and abandon the physical body. Only by combining the body of energy with the soul could one become a saint. Then, one would slowly become a supreme and finally become a god. Impatience used to do the same. She did not fall in love, did not ask about the matters between men and women, and only focused on training. Until she met Yu Yang. She found that his training was completely different from hers. But the effect was better. He did not need to cut off the emotions, nor did he need to cut off the six senses and abandon the physical body. He could still improve rapidly, and the speed was even faster. He did not need to calm his heart and forget his emotions like others, but he needed to be true to his emotions. His emotions and character could also improve rapidly. Moreover, the body fusion was simply a godly skill, and he had obvious benefits. As for his physical body not being able to become a saint, Yu Yang did not cut off the six senses and abandon the physical body. He had innate chi and nirvana flame. He could use these to purify his body, change his bones, cleanse his marrow, and then be reborn. The effect was 100 times better and 1,000 times faster than cutting off the six senses and abandoning the physical body. Since there was the best way, and she could try out the feeling of being in love with him and be a happy little woman, why not? Of course, before Impatience made such a decision, she hesitated for a long time. However, when she saw the happy smile on his wife, sickly Beauty's face, a kind of envy that she had never felt before appeared in her heart, and she came to a sudden realization. So what she needed the most was love. Charm Demon Palace. There are so many charm demons. When Yu Yang and Impatience arrived at the Charm Demon Palace in the 7th floor of Tong Tian Tower, they found out that this place was named as one of the 10 most dangerous places in the entire Tong Tian Tower. The reason was that there were tens of thousands of charm demons and hundreds of thousands of female vassals living here. Most of them were in human form, but some of them were in beast form or bird form. Not to mention a man, even an army of men would be sucked dry immediately if they were placed here. No wonder men would turn pale at the mention of the Charm Demon Palace. This was simply a man's hell. There was no doubt about it. Charm demons were female demon creatures that specialized in seducing men. They had a matriarchal social structure, and all their offspring were females. There would never be a male existence. It was said that a charm demon could suck a man dry after just one sexual intercourse, turn him into a dried corpse. Furthermore, they could store their seeds for thousands of years and arrange their reproduction time as they pleased, just like the queen ant. Of course, not all charm demons were willing to give birth. This was because every time they gave birth, their strength would be halved, and the little charm demon that was born would inherit half of their strength and grow rapidly. In Tong Tian Tower, charm demons were the demon race that rarely came out. However, Once they caught a strong man, they would use their special ability to suck him dry mercilessly. Strong charm demons did not need to have sex. Just by opening their mouth, they could completely suck a lesser innate rancor dry in a few seconds. Therefore, men would definitely tremble in fear at the mention of a terrifying creature like Charm Demon. Don't sweat. They're not as scary as the legends say. Only those who want to play with Charm Demons would be sucked dry by Charm Demons. If they met a man who truly loved them, they would live with their lover for the rest of their lives. They would not do anything to harm their lover. In the history of the Charm Demon Palace, there were at least 10,000 Charm Demons who married far away from their clan. Moreover, most of them lived very happily. Impatience was not a Charm Demon. She was a pure human. Because her guardian beast was the Demon King-ranked Charm Demon Queen, she was worshipped as the Palace Master by the Charm Demon clan. Her position was even higher than the Charm Demon Queen. Tion Fa Palace Master, I bless you. The Charm Demon Queen who stood in front of the palace to welcome Impatience was about 2 meters tall. She looked extremely enchanting and seductive. She wore a crown on her head and a queen's robe. She sincerely congratulated Impatience. In these hundreds of years, you have always been taking care of me. On the contrary, it was me who helped the Charm Demon Palace very little. Nice to meet you. Impatience and the Charm Demon Queen hugged. This Charm Demon Queen was both a teacher and a friend. It was she who had always guided Impatience on how to cultivate her guardian beast. Impatience's guardian beast had leveled up from normal level 1 to diamond level 10, becoming the great demon king-ranked Charm Demon Queen that no one had been able to reach since ancient times. The Charm Demon clan will always welcome you. This is your home. You are the pride of our clan. You are welcome to return home often. When the Charm Demon Queen saw Yu Yang perform the innate greeting to her, she secretly praised her sister for finding the best home to return to. She had also heard about Yu Clan's third young master. He was very young, but it was enough to shock the entire upper echelons of Tong Tian Tower. Today, he might not be able to fight against Shun Tian, the Black Prince, or the Black Hell King, but what about tomorrow? Who could say that it was impossible? The disciple personally chosen by the human Ji-Zun. Could it be wrong? If the Ji-Zun's talent was used to judge people, it would never be wrong. Please make her happy. Sky Law is a very unfortunate child. You must make her happy. I believe that you can do it. So, I will leave her to you. The Charm Demon Queen smiled on the surface and did not speak, but secretly transmitted her voice to Yu Yang. At the same time, in the process of returning the greeting to Yu Yang, her right hand quickly stuffed a small box into Yu Yang's hands. This action made Yu Yang slightly startled. Could it be that this had something to do with him? Her action seemed to have a deeper meaning. Impatience was hugging and bidding farewell to the 4 high priests of the Charm Demon clan, so she did not see this small box. After the Charm Demon Queen saw Yu Yang accept it, she nodded her head slightly and smiled as she watched Yu Yang and Impatience leave. Tens of thousands of Charm Demons sang a beautiful song in unison, sending off another companion who had successfully found love and left the Charm Demon Palace. Only then did Yu Yang understand that Impatience wanted to bring him here to bid farewell to her past. Could it be that the small box still contained her past? Her true identity? With this, would he be able to find out some information about Ji-Zun? Chapter 447. After bidding farewell to the tens of thousands of succubus that could make one's legs go weak and leaving the succubus palace, one of the 10 most dangerous places in Tong Tian Tower, Yu Yang secretly wiped his cold sweat. A single succubus was nothing, but when tens of thousands of them appeared together, their aura was really terrifying. If the Black Hell Army and the succubus palace were to fight, Yu Yang was more optimistic that the succubus palace would win. Even if the Black Hell King and his 5 leaders had the upper hand, but with the generals and soldiers, they would definitely be annihilated. And they would probably all die a horrible death, sucked dry and turned into piles of white bones. In Tong Tian Tower, there was only one force that could suppress the succubus palace, and that was the Eastern Goblin tribe ruled by the Dragon Emperor. Yu Yang did not immediately open the white jade box that the succubus queen secretly gave him. Since the succubus queen wanted to keep it a secret and not let the impatiens know, then Yu Yang would find a time to secretly open it. Other than bidding farewell to the succubus palace, the impatiens also transferred dozens of areas under her jurisdiction, various mines and forests, as well as many private lands with beautiful scenery to the 6 sky demons of the demonic palace. Sky Disaster received the most gifts. The 6 sky demons all came to bless the impatiens, especially Sky Disaster. Her brother-in-law called her sweetly and asked for a reward. She didn't even care about the dragon crystals and insisted on a holy treasure. Shoo shoo, go play at the side. Yeon almost wanted to smack her a little, but he didn't even have a holy treasure. How could he give it to her? You have never had a title since you joined the 10 Sky Demons. I think we have to think of one for you today. Sky Disaster was very vengeful. Seeing that the stingy Yu Yang was not willing to take out the treasure, she immediately suggested, since brother-in-law is a pauper, why don't we call him Sky Pauper? It means the most stingy pauper in the world. Why don't we call him Sky Bash? I was born to bash you. Yu Yang was instantly furious. He wanted to catch his sister-in-law and molest her so that she would understand how powerful brother-in-law was. Let's draw a card of destiny. Sky Crime was one of the kinder ones and quickly tried to smooth things over. Agreed. Sky Assassinate, who admired Yu Yang the most, nodded in agreement. I agree. Sky Sword also agreed. He didn't admire Yu Yang at all. Instead, he was afraid. He was afraid that Yu Yang would steal his Saint-grade ancient sword. Heavenly Tribulation didn't utter a word. Heavenly Fury, who was carrying the drum on his back, also stood far away without any expression. They were neutral, neither approving nor opposing. Only Sky Calamity insisted that the title of Sky Poor was most suitable for Yu Yang. Impatience was all smiles. It was rare for her to be in such a good mood. She pinched Yu Yang's arm lightly. What she meant was for Yu Yang to not be too stingy and to take out something to please Sky Calamity. She didn't want her to go around shouting and making things awkward for her. Since he said that, Yu Yang patted his chest, implying that he would complete the task. He took out the 5-colored holy light and passed it to Sky Calamity. Girl, have you seen this treasure before? When Sky Calamity saw it, she was so happy that her eyes almost turned into hearts. She shouted, I want it, brother-in-law. How would Yu Yang give her the 5-colored holy light? He was just teasing her. Before Sky Calamity rushed over to snatch it, he immediately kept it. So I'm the stingiest brother-in-law. Seems like I can't give this treasure to you. Not at all. You're the most generous brother-in-law in the world. I like brother-in-law. Come, take out the treasure for me to see. Put it in my palm and let me see it carefully. I promise I won't take it from you. Sky Calamity tried her best to flatter him. A treasure like the 5-colored holy light was simply dazzling to her eyes. I could take a look. Yeah, I took the wrong one. Yu Yang took out the black light again. Wow. When Sky Calamity saw it, she liked it like a kitten seeing a ball of wool. She waved her hands with all her might, trying to snatch it away under Yu Yang's obstruction. Although the black light was a counterfeit version of the 5-colored holy light, it was still a holy ranked treasure that Jiu Shao left for Lei Shinshi to kill Yu Yang in impatience. Its use was closer to combat and killing, unlike the real 5-color divine light, which had all sorts of special abilities. In terms of just one aspect, the lethality of the black light was even greater than 1/5 of the green 5-color divine light. Yu Yang teased Sky Calamity to the point that she almost cried. He kept the black light and took out the bottle containing the god's dew. When Sky Disaster screamed in surprise, he kept it again and took out the Prison Emperor Divine Seal. Yu Yang tempted her evilly. Girl, have you seen the divine equipment? Look, this is the legendary divine equipment. Sky Calamity was going crazy. This brat was full of treasures, but he refused to give one to her. She tried her best to snatch it back, but she couldn't win against him. The other 5 sky demons couldn't stand Yu Yang's showing off either. He was just teasing a kid. Did he have to take out the divine equipment to tempt her? Really? Have you seen the eternal wishing Dutchman's pipe? Your brother-in-law, have it. Have you seen the god's water and the eternal spring? I have it too. Call me brother-in-law sweetly, Maybe I'll give you a piece if I'm happy. Yu Yang was 100 times more evil than the weird uncle who used sweets to tempt little girls. He knew that Sky Calamity couldn't resist the temptation of treasures, but he still showed off. He really deserved a beating. Stingy, Sky Calamity was very smart. She knew that it was impossible to get a treasure from her brother-in-law. He was just teasing her on purpose. Ruthlessly, she grabbed Yu Yang's arm and fiercely bit it. Yu Yang was in so much pain that he couldn't get rid of her even after swinging his arm a dozen times. Impatience had a headache when she saw this. Both of them were just kids, but they could fight like this just because of a grudge. Sky Crime laughed out loud. He opened the mysterious big box a little. Suddenly, countless golden lights came out. A special mysterious energy filled the whole world. Yu Yang and Sky Calamity didn't care about the fight anymore. They rushed over at the same time, wanting to see what Sky Crime's big box was hiding. This was one of the biggest secrets of the demonic palace. It was said that only Sky Execution knew what was inside the big box. Others, even Sky Wrath and Sky Calamity, who were closest to Sky Crime, didn't know. Before Yu Yang could use his divine vision to see clearly, Sky Crime had already taken out dozens of dark gold strange cards. The big box was closed again. The mysterious energy disappeared immediately. Sky Crime sent the dark gold cards to Yu Yang and signaled him to pick one. There were 3 ways to name a sky demon in the demonic palace. The first was self-naming. After reaching the sky demon realm, one could abandon their previous name and call themselves a better one. Like Sky Dragon, originally called Evil Dragon Python Lord. After reaching the peak of innate level 6, he entered the demonic palace and became the weakest 10th sky demon, giving himself the name Sky Dragon. Other than self-naming, there was another kind that was recognized. For example, Sky Wrath. His temper, voice, and drumming were like thunder. Once it was heard, it was like the angry roar of God, so it was recognized as Sky Wrath. Similar examples were Sky Assassinate and Sky Sword. They were recognized as Sky Demons. The last kind was the Sky Demon who accepted the Card of Fate test. Only super strong Sky Demons had this qualification. Like Sky Execution, Sky Law, Sky Wrath, Sky Calamity, Sky Crime, they all had to go through this test. Once the Card of Fate was tested, it would always give the target a title. This was not the main point. The most important thing was that the Card of Fate was a treasure that contained the power of the ancient code. Once the title was successful, it would give the target an ability. This kind of test opportunity was extremely rare. It could only be tested once every 100 years. Like Sky Wrath, Sky Assassinate, and Sky Sword, they all yearned to be tested by the Card of Fate and obtain the special power bestowed by the ancient code. But when Yu Yang joined the Sky Demon, they expressed their willingness to give this opportunity to Yu Yang. Other than being humble to a stronger person, it was also a clear recognition of their own shortcomings. If they were strong enough, then Sky Crime would definitely not give the opportunity to test the Card of Fate to Yu Yang. After all, this was a test that only happened once every 100 years. The reason why Sky Crime gave it to Yu Yang, this newbie, was to prove that he was the more outstanding Sky Demon. Just randomly pick one? Yu Yang was a little nervous, but he pretended not to care. There were 100 cards of fate, but in every test, he could only pick one out of the 36 cards. These cards of fate were all different. Some had good titles, some had bad ones, and the abilities bestowed by the ancient code were also big and small. Of course, it was good to choose a good one. If he chose a card of fate with a bad name and obtained a useless ability, that would be too embarrassing. Be calm and choose according to your heart. You will definitely choose the card of fate that suits you best. The black gold chains in Sky Crime's hands clanked, and the card of fate in his hands rapidly shuffled and recombined. The dark golden card of fate emitted a special energy, and finally gradually diffused and enveloped Sky Crime's hands. All right. Yu Yang closed his eyes and casually picked one. A strange change occurred. Thousands of dark golden rays of light bloomed from the card in Yu Yang's hands. It was as bright as the sun, extremely dazzling, making people unable to look at it directly. The invisible power of the ancient code appeared. It spread from Yu Yang's body. In an instant, it was displayed to the extreme. The whole world seemed to tremble from this power of the ancient code. A dark golden giant grew from Yu Yang's body. It had the same shape as Yu Yang. In a few seconds, it became a mountain-like existence. Its body was incomparably huge, as high as 1,000 meters. Even looking up, it was impossible to see the head of this dark golden giant. Sky Crime, Sky Fury, Sky Assassinate, and Sky Sword's faces changed dramatically. Their pupils contracted. Impatience and Sky Disaster were also dumbfounded. Because in the records of the demonic palace, there were only 3 people whose image of fate exceeded 100 meters. They were the most powerful Sky Execution, the most talented Sky Law, and the most potential Sky Disaster. Sky Execution's record was close to 200 meters, which was already an unprecedented existence in the entire demonic palace. Sky Law and Sky Disaster were similar. However, there was a gap. The third most powerful Sky Wrath in the demonic palace, his image of fate was less than 100 meters. The arrogant Sky Calamity was less than 80 meters, and Sky Crime, who was responsible for the test of the card of fate, was only 60 meters. They all knew that Yu Yang was a monster, and they were mentally prepared that he would be as strong as Sky Execution, or even slightly stronger. But no one had ever thought that Yu Yang's destiny image would be so much stronger. It was almost 1,000 meters. The destiny image was like a mountain, and it was impossible to see the entire body of the destiny image. It was an existence that could support the heavens and the earth. This was definitely the most incredible test in the entire history of the demonic palace. It was so abnormal that it was really hard to accept. Not only that, the golden image was holding something in its hands. Because the image of destiny was too tall and dazzling, Sky Law, Sky Disaster, Sky Crime, and the others couldn't even reach the height of the golden image's toes when they stood up. Howl! A terrifying roar resounded through the sky, causing the earth to shake. There was another change. There was a dark golden giant wolf nearly 200 meters, which drilled out from between the legs of the golden giant. It stood on the ground, arched its back, and raised its head and roared towards the sky. Its appearance completely covered the situation above the golden giant. Sky Crime and the others vaguely saw something coming out from above, but it was covered by the image of the dark golden giant wolf on the ground, so they couldn't see the changes above. Chapter 448. Impatience, Sky Calamity, Sky Crime, Sky Fury, and the others all wanted to fly up and see the changes on the dark golden giant image. But the power of the law pinned everyone firmly to the ground. At this moment, no one could move. In addition to this dark golden giant wolf, there were countless purple-gold flames and silver-white lightning, burning and wandering on the surface of the golden giant image. In the sky, fiery red lotuses fell and danced all over the sky. Accompanied by this kind of oppressive fire lotus, there was also a kind of terrifying cold frost in the shape of snowflakes fluttering. At the same time, there were countless silver electrocurrents like spirit snakes, slipping between the ice and fire, crackling. Everyone was almost suffocated. There had never been so many changes in the image of a person's destiny. There had never been a person's destiny image so real. Even Sky Execution's destiny image only existed for a dozen seconds before quickly disappearing. However, this kid's destiny image of Yu Yang had existed for more than a minute, and there was no sign of it disappearing. Instead, it was getting bigger and bigger, showing more and more changes. Even if he was abnormal, there was no need to be so exaggerated, right? Sky's Retribution, who was most jealous of Yu Yang, almost banged his head on the ground. Compared to Yu Yang, his 80-meter-tall destiny image was not even a dwarf. It was not even comparable to the nearly 200-meter-tall giant wolf under Yu Yang's image. It was really annoying to compare oneself with others. Sky's Retribution was full of tears. Impatience was extremely excited. Her face was flushed, and she was so excited that she wanted to cry. She felt that Yu Yang was really good. Yu Yang killed Sky Dragon completely because of her. Although no one blamed him, it was still a little embarrassing. This was also the reason why she suggested Sky's retribution to let Yu Yang join the demonic palace as one of the new top 10 sky demons. It could be considered as compensating the demonic palace for a sky demon. However, she never thought that Yu Yang would be so outstanding. Not only did he not lose to the 6 great sky demons, he also easily broke the highest record of sky execution during the test of fate, becoming an unprecedented ultimate existence that she believed would never be able to surpass in the future. If it was according to Yu Yang's usual tone, it would be too awesome. Heavenly Disaster was also so excited that her face turned red. She clenched her fists tightly, as if she was going to cheer for Yu Yang at any time. The image of the dark golden wolf covered the sky above. With the cover of the fire lotus, frost, and electric current, sky calamity, sky crime, and the others on the ground couldn't see clearly what was happening above. But everyone knew that there were more changes above. Yu Yang's mind became one with the card of destiny. His eyes were tightly shut, and his mind was completely immersed in the law world of the cards of destiny. Immersed, intoxicated, completely unaware of the changes in the outside world. He was obtaining the power of the law and comprehending the realm of that special ability. As the card of destiny shone brightly to its limit, Yu Yang suddenly roared to the sky. The cold energy emitted from his body was earth-shattering. The hard ground and the towering mountain were shaking crazily, as if there was an earthquake. Countless cracks on the ground spread out like a spider web. The slopes of the distant mountains were collapsing. The huge rocks on a mountaintop were also rumbling down. When Yu Yang waved his arms subconsciously, the image of the dark golden giant was doing the same. What was even more frightening was that the sky had actually split open out of nowhere. The eastern and western skies had strangely split into 2 halves. The clear sky inexplicably became dark. Dark clouds rolled. The blood-red moon came out of the sky, shining with a chilling light. As the dark clouds churned, Phoenix Fairy Beauty, Sky Disaster, and the others could see bright stars falling from the sky one after another. Streaks of blazing light streaked across the sky, crashing onto the ground with a loud rumble. The sky and earth collapsed. The impact of the meteors destroyed everything on the ground. Compared to sky execution, sky law, sky wrath, sky calamity, sky crime, sky calamity, and the others, Yu Yang's image of destiny was thousands of times more terrifying. Even though they knew it was fake, that it was just an image, not a real existence. But as strong as impatience, sky calamity, and the other sky demons, they were terrified. Because it was too real, these images made people feel like they were in reality. Seeing the meteors crashing down, even someone as calm as Sky Crime secretly swallowed his saliva to resist the fear in his heart. As for Sky Fury, Sky Assassinate, and Sky Sword, they all had an uncontrollable urge to jump away and escape. In fact, no matter what they wanted to do, it was impossible. The power of the law froze everyone. This heavenly wolf howls to the moon, stars fall, heaven falls, earth shatters, destruction calamity. This image is a reflection of our generation of sky demons, but everyone is just a small part of it. Only Yu-Clan's third young master is the real reflection. Sky Crime muttered to himself, the black gold chains on his body tightly wrapped around his arms, neck and body, almost strangling him to death. In the suffocating original sin redemption, the painful Sky Crime's eyes shone. Using his special talent, he saw a little bit of the revelation of destiny. But his realm was not enough. He could only see for a few seconds and could not hold on. The black gold chains made the bones in his body creak. The soul's original sin redemption caused him to suffer heavy injuries. Pooh! A mouthful of blood spurted from Sky Crime's mouth, splashing on the ground. When Sky Crime gave up on continuing to see destiny, the black gold chains immediately loosened, allowing him to breathe a sigh of relief. In just a few seconds, Sky Crime's skin was already deeply broken, skin and flesh twisted. Fortunately, he was a powerful sky demon. Otherwise, the punishment of trying to see destiny would have killed him. Unfortunately, I still can't see the truth clearly. However, the future of Demonic Palace is definitely related to Clan's third young master. I am not wrong about this. Sky Crime said with a little regret, but also a little relief. Regarding the future of Demonic Palace, Sky Crime was the most important one, even more important than Sky Execution. The 10 great sky demons could die, but Demonic Palace must not perish. This protection was the responsibility that the previous generation of sky demons left to Sky Crime, and only Sky Crime, with his ability and talent, could do it. In fact, even if Sky Crime did not say it, everyone knew. Yu Yang, this brat, had such a huge image of destiny and so many visions, all-encompassing, hidden revelations, the future of Demonic Palace. It would be strange if it was not related to him. Phoenix Fairy Beauty heaved a sigh of relief. Her decision to recommend Yu Yang to join the Demonic Palace was indeed correct. This was not only beneficial to Demonic Palace, but also to Yu Yang himself. It was also very helpful. If there really was destiny, then he was the choice of destiny. Unfortunately, Yu Yang did not know this at all. He did not know that his random drawing of a card of destiny would cause such a big commotion. When he opened his eyes, it was already 3 minutes later. Yu Yang couldn't remember anything that had happened. He only knew that there was a special power that had mysteriously entered his body and fused with his devouring energy. Before he opened his eyes, all the images faded and disappeared. The only thing he saw was the card in his hand. What card did Yu Yang draw? Everyone was very curious. Impatience, Sky Disaster, Sky Assassinate, Sky Sword, and the others all came over to look, but Sky Crime smiled slightly bitterly. He knew which card Yu Yang had drawn. Sirius. Among all the cards, it was the only one that represented the destruction of the world by devouring stars. It was also the most ferocious card among all the cards of destiny. It was even more terrifying than death, massacre, judgment, destruction, aurora, hell, blood tower, and other ferocious cards. Because once this card was drawn, it represented the destruction of the world, represented the twilight of the gods. The vision just now also showed the same. Sirius howled to the moon, stars fell, the sky fell, the earth cracked, the calamity of destruction. What card is this? The world is not like the world. Fate is not like fate. Sirius is not like Sirius. Sky Disaster was puzzled. She actually did not recognize the card in Yu Yang's hand. Did something happen? Impatience was also shocked. On the dark golden card in Yu Yang's hand, there were many mysterious patterns. Just like the card that represented world, there was a big tree, but also like the card that represented fate, there was a giant golden hand. There was even a card that represented Sirius. There was an extremely bright star, and in the background of the sky, there was a Sirius that opened its mouth to devour everything. Huh? Even Sky Crime was inexplicably surprised. He first stared at the card in Yu Yang's hand for a long time, and then lowered his head to count the cards of fate in his hand. Strangely, there were still 36 cards of fate in his hand. Not one less. How could there be an extra card? He clearly saw Yu Yang draw it in his hand. Looking carefully again, he opened the cards of fate in his hand. The cards that represented world, fate, and Sirius had all disappeared, as if they had never appeared. The 3 extra cards were World Tree, Wheel of Fate, and Sirius. Sky Crime was shocked. Not only did he not see these 3 new cards, the explanations and levels displayed on them were also very different from the original. Take World Tree as an example. World Tree, middle grade, represents extraordinary wisdom and a long life. The one who draws it will gain the ability to develop the wisdom of plant-type beasts and share life with plant-type beasts. This card was completely different from the previous ones. The previous world was a top-grade card. The one who draws it will gain perfect creativity and can create everything in the world. The only balance is the success rate. World and World Tree. One is a top-grade card, the other is a mid-grade card. The cards were similar, but World Tree was not even a high-grade card. Fate and Wheel of Fate were the same. Fate was a completely free and irreversible control of fate. Wheel of Fate was just a small curse that could entangle people with bad luck and cause them to be unlucky for a short period of time. As for Sirius and Sirius, there was a huge difference. Sirius represented the destruction of the world, and was related to the legendary world-destroying demon wolf that devoured the world and destroyed the heaven and earth. The one who draws it will gain the power of destruction. There was a certain probability that the life that was killed would be destroyed forever. Even a super strong innate would not be able to survive in the form of a soul. It was even more terrifying than Sky Execution and Sky Law. Sirius was a low-grade card of fate. The ability it gained was that whenever the brightest Sirius appeared in the sky, the one who draws it would double his strength and increase the power of all starry sky beasts by 5 times. How could this be? Not to mention outsiders. Even Sky Crime himself was confused and felt that it was inconceivable. There's an extra card? This is a good thing. Impatience's reaction was the fastest. She quickly stuffed the card that belonged to Yu Yang into his pocket. From now on, this card belonged to him. As for the ancient runes on Yu Yang's exclusive card that even Yu Yang couldn't understand, she chose to ignore them. The card of fate that had always existed as 100 cards. How did it become 101 card? She didn't bother to investigate. It was reasonable that it existed anyway. From now on in the demonic palace, I will call you Sirius. Sky Crime could not understand the words on Yu Yang's card because it was an ancient rune that no one could understand. However, since the Sirius card was the foundation, and it had both world and fate, he decided to officially call Yu Yang Sirius. Great, this name is right. A natural pervert. He is a natural pervert. Sirius is the most suitable name. Sky Disaster clapped her hands and cheered. Is your butt itchy? Yu Yang looked at Sky Disaster's perky but sinisterly. Sister Skylaw, brother-in-law bullied me. He even flirted with me in front of you. If you were not here, this big pervert would have pounced on me. Sister, you have to protect the weak Sky Disaster. I'm scared. Sky Disaster hid behind impatience and complained, pretending to be a little white rabbit being bullied by a big bad wolf. Yu Yang wanted to say that it was obviously this little girl who seduced him. In the end, he held it in and kept it in his heart. When he had the chance, he would definitely F***CK this damn girl. Flirting? Flirting was nothing. Brother-in-law flirting with sister-in-law was a glorious tradition in the history of the soaring dragon continent. It was not easy to escape from Sky Disaster's pestering. Yu Yang hurriedly brought Impatience home. He had already met her family, and everyone had agreed, but they had not consummated their marriage yet. How could Yu Yang not be anxious? As for Sky Disaster, forget about it for now. This little girl was very sly. It would not be easy to push her down. He had no time to flirt with her now. He had to think of a way to take down Impatience first. Chapter 449. According to the wedding ceremony in the soaring dragon continent, they would first marry the bride in a sedan, then bow to the heavens and earth, remove the red veil, drink the nuptial wine, and then do it. Yu Yang skipped all these steps. Sedan? Where could he find one now? He could just carry his wife home. Zhu Beiji had set a good example by carrying his wife home. Bowing to the heavens and earth were all fleeting. Husband and wife loved each other. Happiness was the same whether they bowed or not. If one of them had a small problem with their body, bowing to the heavens and earth would probably be useless. It was more clear to go straight to the point. Pushing someone down was pushing them down. They couldn't just fantasize without taking action. Otherwise, they would be worse than a beast. Yu Yang also felt that being a beast was better than being worse than a beast. If he was scolded by a girl as a beast, he would at most be shameless. If he was scolded by a girl as worse than a beast, he would definitely be useless. Don't pull me so fast. Impatience could see that this brat was a little impatient, as if he was up to no good. As soon as she thought about it, her body felt a kind of heat that made her go limp. She couldn't take a step. She knew that she had feelings for Yu Yang, and she also knew that her perfect body would be devoured by this brat sooner or later. The problem came so fast that she was a little unprepared. There should be a buffer, right? Even if they didn't make vows of undying love, they should at least build up the atmosphere, right? Impatience let Yu Yang hold her small, white jade hands. She felt as if his big hands were electrified. Waves of power passed through her. making her feel uncomfortable. Let's go back to the soaring dragon continent first. If a war breaks out, wouldn't we miss it? Phoenix Fairy Beauty knew that once they really did something, they would probably linger for at least 2 to 3 days. Facing each other, being sweet and intimate, the world of just the two of them would feel great. The problem was that if the Black Hell King were to attack, then Yu Yang's absence would cause serious consequences. Moreover, Impatiens also wanted to meet Yu Yang's family. There wouldn't be a normal wedding, so it could be considered as a real marriage. Otherwise, it would be considered as an illicit affair. Their elders wouldn't even acknowledge it. At most, it would be considered as a clandestine affair. If it was in the past, Impatiens definitely wouldn't care about these things. But once she decided to follow him in the future, but that was different. She was always thinking for him. After all, she could count on this little rascal in the future. Naturally, she hoped that everything would go smoothly for him. Yu Yang also felt that he had to give Impatiens a proper status. It was already very shameless to want to consummate their marriage without getting married. If he didn't even have a proper status, it would definitely be unacceptable. He brought Impatiens back to the Yu clan castle and bowed to Elder Yu Hai. He introduced her shamelessly. This is Sky Law from the demonic palace. She is our reinforcement. She is my good friend. We might even be able to advance further in the future. Jun Wu Yu, Elder Yu Hai, and the others quickly pretended to drink their tea, pretending not to hear anything. According to seniority, in reality, they were all juniors. When Tian Fa became famous, Jun Wu Yu and the rest were still playing in the mud while wearing open pants. Now that Tian Fa was going to marry Yu Yang, they knew that such a day would come, and they encouraged Yu Yang to do so. But then again, when this kid brought Tian Fa back to greet them, they couldn't keep their faces. They didn't have the qualifications to accept the greeting. But if they didn't accept the greeting, it wouldn't be right. After all, Tian Fa wanted to follow Yu Yang. How could they not agree? How could they not agree? Cough, this is a good thing. I say, Xiao-san, we don't care about your matters. Let's just address each other separately. Cough, Brother Hai, don't you think so? Jun Wu Yu is an emperor after all, so he reacted quickly. He understood the meaning behind his words. It's fine if you don't marry, we all agree. But it's best not to make it public, in case the seniority gets messed up. At that time, they wouldn't know how to address each other. Yes, that's exactly what I meant. Elder Yu Hai was very happy in his heart. Sky Law wanted to be his granddaughter-in-law. This was the blessing of his ancestors. This bright Yu Yang really lived up to his expectations. Even Sky Law, who was ranked second in the demonic palace, could be his daughter-in-law. He could die without regrets. Brat, you're awesome. The old cunning fox secretly gave Yu Yang a thumbs up. But on the surface, he quickly returned the greeting. This was because Tian Fa not only represented the reinforcements of the demonic palace, she was also a supreme innate. He was only a level 1 innate. He didn't even have the qualifications to raise his head in front of her. If it wasn't for the title of Teacher Yu Yang, Tian Fa wouldn't even bother to look him in the eye, let alone bow to him. The warriors present also felt honored. Borrowing the status of Yu Yang's elder, even a supreme innate bowed to him. This was definitely the first time since ancient times. Everyone quickly returned the greeting, saying that they didn't deserve it. Tian Fa gave Yu Yang face and bowed to everyone, but that didn't mean that they could really treat her as a junior. Many of the masters present had to bow respectfully when they saw Tian Fa. How could they just sit there casually? Then, they went to Tian Luo Palace to see Fourth Mother. Fourth Mother was much more generous than Jun Wu Yu and the others. In her mind, no matter if it was Shui Wuxia, Princess Sisai, or City Mistress Fallen Flowers, or anyone else, as long as they were married to her Xiao-san, they would be her daughter-in-law. Facing Tian Fa's greeting, she didn't feel any pressure at all. Instead, she was extremely happy. She personally helped Impatiens up and pulled her to one side. She asked her in detail nonstop, almost investigating all 3 generations of Impatiens' ancestors. Brother, when Yu Bing appeared, Yu Yang sighed inwardly. It seemed like his blissful sexual life had to be postponed. When his sister came back, she would definitely pester him. It would be very difficult for him to have a world of just the two of them with impatience at this time. Young secretly gritted his teeth. He could forget about it during the day, but at night, he would wait for Yu Bing to fall asleep. Then he would sneak over and make a night attack to push down impatience. In any case, when he trained body fusion in the past, he would sneak around in the middle of the night. He was already used to moving at night. The little girl also flew over. Since her sister was in her brother's embrace, she hugged her brother's thigh with both hands and begged for sweets with all her might. This little girl was easy to please. He just needed to give her some good food. Yu Bing wasn't that easy. She was so pure that she didn't know that she had disturbed her brother's blissful sexual life. She happily reported to her brother the knowledge that she had learned from Grandma Wu Tung, and also talked about her own enlightenment. She even showed him her cultivation progress, asking him to examine her to prove that she had been working hard and hadn't been lazy. Of course, the little girl just wanted her brother to praise her. She felt that she had put in a lot of effort in training and studying seriously. She was proud of herself, so of course she wanted her brother to praise her. Oh, Bing Air's progress is not bad. Your combat skills are also pretty good. Later on, I will think of a way to level up your green light, tree demoness, and 1,000-year-old Trant General. As long as the 1,000-year-old Trant General can become the 10,000-year-old Ancient Tree King, then you can almost become an innate. A 16-year-old innate, Bing Air, you are even more powerful than me. Continue to work hard. When Yu Yang praised her, Yu Bing's face turned red. She felt a little embarrassed and buried her head in her brother's embrace. Her face and ears were red, and she didn't dare to look at him. She liked to hear her brother's praise, but when he really praised her, she felt embarrassed because she hadn't worked hard enough. The reason why she could improve was all because of her brother's help. To become an innate at the age of 16, if it wasn't for her brother, how could it be possible? With regard to the idea of surpassing her brother, Bing Air felt that she was being disrespectful to her brother. If it wasn't for her brother forcing her to do this, she would rather become an innate later. She must let her brother maintain the historical record of becoming an innate at the age of 20. When City Mistress Fallen Flowers and Sickly Beauty saw that Yu Yang had really brought the impatience back, they felt a little sour in their hearts. This brat was really capable. However, they already knew that this day would come. When they were practicing body fusion previously, they already knew that Sky Law wouldn't be able to run away. Moreover, the impatience had sacrificed herself to protect Yu Yang several times. She had also saved the girls many times. City Mistress Fallen Flowers and Sickly Beauty didn't object to her joining. Although Sky Law was a super innate, her temper wasn't like others. She didn't put on airs. She didn't like to manage things and only liked to practice. She didn't have any thoughts of seizing power and becoming the big sister in the harem. City Mistress Fallen Flowers and Sickly Beauty didn't feel that she was a threat at all. Moreover, when it came to entering the harem, the two of them were ranked ahead of her. At night, Yu Yang finally managed to coax Yu Bing, who was excitedly talking to her brother about the new realm of battle techniques, to sleep. He was about to sneak out to attack the impatience at night. Who knew that before he could sneak out of Yu Bing's room, he would suddenly see City Mistress Fallen Flowers standing in front of him with a light veil. Fallen Beauty threw herself into Yu Yang's arms and hugged his neck. Her breath smelled like orchids, and she let out a voice that sounded like a kitten in spring. "Scoundrel, I want it. I want to try the position you told me the other time tonight." He knew that this girl was here to cause trouble, but with a beauty in his arms, a warm and fragrant body, and a pair of seductive eyes, how could he not express himself? Sickly Beauty also secretly stuck half of her head out from behind her door. When she saw Yu Yang, she quickly retracted her head back. She seemed to be extremely shy. Threesome? On one side, there were his two little wives serving him threesome. On the other side, there was the important matter of the impatience's nuptial chamber. How should he choose? Yu Yang didn't care anymore. He would first enjoy threesome and then go to the nuptial chamber. Anyway, the impatience couldn't run away, so it wouldn't be too late to let her wait for a while. As for Fallen Flowers and Sickly Beauty, if he didn't make them beg for mercy, he wouldn't be able to teach them what it meant to be a husband. Scoundrel, as expected of this city mistress who loves you dearly. Tonight, I will definitely let you enjoy my gentleness. City Mistress Fallen Flowers saw that Yu Yang had chosen to have a threesome without hesitation and was overjoyed. She hugged her lover and kissed him fiercely. She decided to use all her skills to make this brat unable to leave the bed for the whole night. Did he want to attack Sky Law at night? No, at least not tonight. Tonight, he belonged to her. During the battle, City Mistress Fallen Flowers really did her best to serve him. She usually didn't take the initiative, but tonight, she put in a lot of effort. Moreover, unless it was just the two of them, she wouldn't dare to be so bold in front of sickly beauty. Now, she was very impressive. She did something even more daring, and even deliberately moaned loudly to provoke the impatience who was eavesdropping next door. City Mistress Fallen Flowers and sickly beauty took turns to fight. After fighting for the whole night, they were exhausted. Impatience didn't feel good either. If it wasn't for her strong self-control, she probably couldn't help but walk into City Mistress Fallen Flowers' room and participate in the battle. During the day, City Mistress Fallen Flowers' face was glowing. Although her body was a little weak, her spirit was really good. Firstly, she had achieved a gratifying victory in front of her rival in love. Secondly, absence makes the heart grow fonder. Yu Yang's impressive performance made her feel boundless happiness. She knew that she couldn't control Yu Yang, so she was smart enough to deliberately talk to impatience. As a result, under her intentional and Yu Bing's unintentional disturbances, Yu Yang and impatience could only secretly hold hands, making it look like they were having an affair. Impatience also felt that it was funny and fun. Although it wasn't an affair, there was that kind of exciting feeling. When Yu Yang secretly reached out his hand to touch her under the table, she didn't even refuse. On the surface, she sat and talked to City Mistress Fallen Flower seriously. But underneath, she let Yu Yang's naughty hands grope her thighs. City Mistress Fallen Flower saw it and immediately clamped Yu Yang's ankle under the table. Then, she pulled his hand and placed it on her thigh. On the other side, Impatience also learned to do the same. She completely refused to be at a disadvantage. Chapter 450. Yu Yang enjoyed the bliss of having multiple partners. His only regret was that he had to do it secretly, because there was still Yu Bing and Yu Shuang beside him. They didn't know anything and didn't have such thoughts at all. No matter how thick-skinned Yu Yang was, he wouldn't be able to brazenly take advantage of his sister. Yu Bing didn't know that her two sisters-in-law were fighting secretly under the table. She was happily discussing beasts and combat skills with her brother. She then humbly asked City Mistress Fallen Flowers and Impatience for guidance. Strictly speaking, she was the one who benefited the most. At night, City Mistress Fallen Flowers used her honey trap to lure Yu Yang to have a threesome. After a night of torment, Impatience had already thought of a good way to deal with it. That was to close off all 6 of her senses. She couldn't stand that kind of sound, so it should be fine if she didn't listen to it, right? She saw that City Mistress Fallen Flowers was forcefully holding on. That kind of battle was definitely tiring for her body. She even laughed in her heart. Let's see how long you can hold on. If I'm not anxious, can you dominate me? As a virgin, Impatience had expectations and was also a little worried. If she couldn't stand it and messed up the first time, Fallen Flowers would definitely make fun of her. She might as well have a little secret affair with Yu Yang first. This kind of feeling was not bad. Although it was a little sneaky, it was very exciting. The atmosphere was also not bad. Most importantly, this would make him like her even more. Letting Yu Yang do that kind of thing so quickly, Impatience was still a little uncomfortable. It would be best if they could play a little ambiguity and nurture their relationship. Yu could see that she was anxious. She tried her best to smooth things over during the day and went to sleep early at night. She didn't dare to listen to that kind of sound anymore. She also couldn't resist entering the grimoire world. She was afraid that if she saw something not suitable for children or heard some kind of sound, her heart would be disturbed and she wouldn't be able to sleep. Fourth Mother was very lenient and coaxed little Shuang to sleep early. She only cared about the big picture when it came to her children's affairs. When it came to the details of life, she knew that everyone could actually do it well. It was not a big deal for a little girl to be jealous and fight. Besides, this kind of small fight would only improve the relationship between each other. If they coldly ignored each other, that would be terrible. It was the same for 3 days. City Lord Fallen Flowers had been fighting with Yu Yang for 3 nights in a row, using all her strength to serve him, causing her to be completely exhausted. In the end, she found that her rival was completely unaffected. He was immediately discouraged. "Forget it. I'll leave it to you tonight. I'm exhausted." City Lord Fallen Flowers admitted defeat for the time being. She felt that she had been a little too impulsive. If Yu Yang had already pushed Sky Law down and let her have a taste of what it was like to be a woman, then she would not have been able to control herself. Now, she was still a virgin. She still had the reserve and fear of a young girl. When she heard the voice, even if it was very tempting, she could still resist it as long as she shut off her 6 senses. City Lord Fallen Flowers felt that it was not very rational to fight with Sky Law now. When she was pushed down by Yu Yang, that would be the best time to fight. However, come to think of it, if she was pushed down by that big bad guy Yu Yang, she would be the same as herself. What was the point of fighting with her? Once she calmed down, City Lord Fallen Flowers was already discouraged. She felt that she had suffered a loss. She had worked hard for 3 days in vain. This Sky Law girl was going to be pushed down sooner or later. Her blocking like this was a super stupid move. It was tiring to death and had no effect. On the other hand, that big pervert Yu Yang had taken advantage of her. Fortunately, she realized it early. If she had persisted for another 10 days or half a month, she would have gotten sick from exhaustion. City Lord Fallen Flowers admitted defeat. Impatience was a little surprised. She thought that Fallen Flowers would at least persist for more than a week. She did not expect that she would give up after 3 days. It seemed that the other party was a smart girl and not a fool. Impatience did not have any hostility towards Fallen Flowers. Hearing her admit defeat like a cute little girl throwing a tantrum, her impression of her changed. She was secretly amused. She even mocked herself in her heart for lowering herself to the same level as Fallen Flowers. Seeing City Lord Fallen Flowers admit defeat so readily, Impatience's heart was slightly moved. Maybe talking to her would solve the knot in her heart, because although she was young, she was already rich in experience. "Actually, I really don't care. You can let him accompany you at night. As for that, it's actually my first time. I don't really know how to do it, so I'm also a little conflicted. Let nature take its course. I didn't want to fight for that. It was just fun. I deliberately teased you during the day. Since you're unhappy, I'll apologize to you." It was rare for Impatience to speak the truth. In other aspects, she could beat countless women, but in this aspect, she really had no experience. It was not that she had not seen Yu Yang's body before. When he was doing it with City Lord Fallen Flowers, she had also peeked at it at night. She felt that if it was her, she would definitely let him kill her. It was because of this mentality that she let Yu Yang attack her at night. This mentality of yours, I've had it before. The first time, I was indeed a little scared. My mentality was very complicated. I really wanted to give it to him, but I didn't dare to. I was afraid that I would disappoint him. City Lord Fallen Flowers saw that Sky Law was vaguely asking for advice and could not help but sympathize with her. Poor Sky Law. She had been famous for hundreds of years, but she had not even tasted the taste of love. She was lucky that she met Yu Yang early on. Thinking like this, for a moment, City Lord Fallen Flowers was happy again. She felt that she was still the luckiest. She did not have to wait for hundreds of years to find the best lover. Is the first time very painful? Impatience wanted to repair their relationship and, at the same time, ask for advice. Anyway, she lacked experience in this aspect. Painful. City Lord Fallen Flowers was even more proud. She explained as a teacher, "The first time is so painful. It's not like you haven't seen it before. That big bad guy is really a dragon among men. You haven't touched it before? Really? Then did he let touch you there? It's very hot, right? Not even a brush. Will he be very obedient when we practice body fusion? Impossible. All right, let's not talk about this first. Let's talk about our own bodies. If we don't try, we won't know. Turns out our bodies are very strong. It was very painful at the time, but we can definitely bear it. Why would I lie to you? You're still better now. I'll tell you now, and you'll be mentally prepared. Who told me at the time? No, it was all by myself. But the first time was very successful. Yes, it's fine as long as you're brave. The first time was successful, and it'll be easy in the future. Don't worry, it'll be very gentle. Anyway, it's just like that. It's not as scary as you think. Thank you very much. Impatience felt much more at ease after listening to City Lord Fallen Flowers' first experience. What are you thanking me for? We might even fight side by side in the future. By the way, Shui Wuxia and Princess Sisai don't know yet. I'll tell them next time. City Lord Fallen Flowers seemed to be addicted to being a teacher this time. At night, City Lord Fallen Flowers didn't stand at the door waiting for Yu Yang anymore. Yu Yang sneaked into her room in surprise and found that she was already asleep. He touched her lightly, and she turned around in a daze. She started to talk in her sleep like a fish bubbling. I'm sleepy. I need to rest. I haven't slept well for the past few nights. Sickly Beauty was about the same. She hadn't fallen asleep yet, but she waved her hand to indicate that she didn't need to serve Yu Yang anymore. Her body needed rest. One had to know that she was an ally of City Lord Fallen Flowers for 3 nights. In fact, she was even more tired than City Lord Fallen Flowers. This was because City Lord Fallen Flowers was extremely sensitive and had poor endurance. She was always defeated very quickly. In the end, it was her who served her husband wholeheartedly. Night attack began. When Yu Yang tiptoed to Impatience's room, he found that she had already fallen asleep. However, her eyes were not closed, and she was waiting for him quietly. The soft light shone on her devastatingly beautiful and peerlessly enchanting jade face. An indescribable beauty assaulted one's senses, simply suffocating one. Yu Yang was stunned. He had never seen such a quiet, elegant, and gentle Impatience. Sleep here tonight. However, can we not do that tonight? Tomorrow? Let me calm down. I'm a little nervous. Impatience waved her hand, asking Yu Yang to come over. Then, she gently lifted the blanket, revealing her flawless body. She gestured for him to quickly come in and lie down. When Yu Yang came in, she flipped her delicate body over and rested her head on Yu Yang's arm. She rested her head on his chest, feeling the contentment of Yu Yang's big hand caressing her back as she used her lily-white hands to gently stroke his body. From his eyebrows, cheeks, lips to his neck, then to his shoulders, chest, and lower abdomen. She was gently stroking him. It was as if she wanted to quickly familiarize herself with the man who was about to become her husband. She tried to use the fastest speed to fall in love with him, although it was not very realistic to fall in love with him immediately. At the very least, she tried to accept him. She opened her heart and let him walk into her life, and then live there forever. Yu Yang hugged her delicate body that was slightly trembling because of nervousness. His heart involuntarily gave birth to a kind of protection. At this moment, she was no longer Sky Law, no longer a super innate, but a woman, a girl who thirsted for love, but was also a little timid. If he wanted her now, he believed that she would not refuse. However, when Yu Yang saw her trembling because of nervousness, his heart was not filled with desire, but with tender love. What she needed the most was his protection. What she needed the most was gentle comfort, and not reckless possession. Yu Yang lightly kissed her forehead, kissed her eyebrows, and lightly kissed her cheeks. He used his hands to caress her back that was as smooth as jade, comforting her soul, allowing her to gradually calm down from her nervousness. Actually, it's not that scary. Liking someone and doing happy things with your lover is just like that. Yu Yang gently kissed her fresh petal-like lips. At first, it was shallow, making her feel the joy of kissing. When her jade lips were filled with happiness and desire, they slightly opened, and Yu Yang really kissed her. He let her try the beauty of kissing. In the end, Impatience, who had a taste of it, immediately learned without a teacher. She kissed him over and over again, learning faster and better. The more they kissed, the more reluctant they were to separate. In the end, When her lips were slightly red and swollen, she reluctantly let go. Unknowingly, she found that she was no longer nervous. Unbeknownst to her, her tight legs had wrapped around his thighs. She could feel the heat of his body, especially his sensitive private area. Even though she hadn't touched it, there was a special feeling that gave rise to a strange yet familiar desire. This kind of desire was very similar to the pleasure he felt when he accidentally rubbed against her when he practiced body fusion, but it was even more intense. To be precise, it was the desire for his possession. Her breathing became slightly rapid, and Impatiens looked a little embarrassed at Yi-Yang. She felt that not only was her body not nervous, but there was also a need, but she was embarrassed because she had just said that she did not want that tonight. Bad thing, it's so scary. Her little hand was unexpectedly bold. She did not mean to do that. She just wanted to try touching it, but she did not expect that it would not let go. She was so embarrassed that she could not show her face, and in the end, she could only act coquettishly. In fact, the current her, other than being a little shocked by its majesty, she was not afraid at all. In fact, there was even a little bit of joy. She felt that the man she chose was worthy of being the strongest man. Whether it was strength or body, he was the strongest dragon in the world. Don't you like them? Do you want to kiss them? Impatiens remembered that night, when she peeked, he kissed Fallen Flowers' soft breasts. He seemed to like to be naughty like that. Her heart moved, and with excitement, she gently raised her body, pulled his big hand over, and tightly pressed it on her incomparably plump breasts. She suppressed her embarrassment and gently bit his earlobe. Last night, I saw you kissing Fallen Flowers like that, and you also kissed me like that. That you're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.